Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jackie Jing, and I'm with Veli and Jesse. What is happening? This last day of Stage 2 has been absolutely nutty. That was billed as a fun matchup, everybody, and then that turned into one of the best battles that we've seen. And now we're getting to the Group B matchup, and there's a lot on the line here. Yeah. The last spot in the NA qualifier. And then, like I said earlier, like 7th place, you don't get anything. You don't want to be 7th place. It's like just saying that. It's like you don't want that. You don't want that, gentlemen. No. But before we get into everything, because we got a long night ahead of us and we are excited for it, pull out your laptops, gentlemen. I got my Predator 900 out. This has been helping me so much. It's got a lovely touchscreen on it. When Jesse gets bored, he obviously pulls up Siege and he's like playing. So yeah, and then Veli watches anime with his girl on there. I do. Yes, we absolutely love these laptops from Predator. I got the Predator 900, and then you both have the Predator 700, right?
I got the Triton 700 with the 2080 overclock. It's amazing.
I got the Helios 700, yeah.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Well, aren't y'all fancy? But, gentlemen, put your laptops aside gently. Don't want to break those. Don't throw it.
I threw it. It's durable. It withstands.
Oh, my goodness, no. But let's talk about Group B. I'm super excited for this. So how did we get here? Where are we at with Group B? eUnited beat Tempo, sending them to relegation. The winner of today's matchup, like we told you, will take the top spot in Group B, 5th place overall in the U.S. division. Oh, wait, that's incorrect. That was the Sonics. I'm so sorry. What I meant to say was that whoever wins today, they get the last NA qualifier spot, and then, like we said, 7th place. Womp womp, you get nothing. You're not relegated, though, but yeah, you don't really want that either. But all right. Let's chat about these teams, and we will begin with eUnited. Man, eUnited has had such a journey, right? We had a really great interview with Alfalma after their win against Tempo. You know, he was not mad about how their Stage 2 was going. He said that it was really just taking them time to work out the kinks and get used to each other. But, you know, he was just saying, like, they needed to be patient. But, you know, they're out of time now, Veli. Do they have what it takes to beat Disrupt today?
Of course, eUnited, they have what it takes to beat just about any team in the U.S. division, and I stand by that wholeheartedly. The only issue I see with this team is that they cannot close out. But there's another issue that I would like to bring up. It's going to be Yeti, Alexander Lawson. I love Yeti to death when I first entered the scene. I saw how dynamic he was on the Roman. I thought he was something special, and he still is. But me mentioning that Roman has to do with what I'm about to say right now. Yeti has gotten more initial engagements than anybody else on this team. Matter of fact, his entry stats are 26 and 32. Yes, that is bad and good at the same time. If Yeti can utilize his knowledge and overall game sense to figure out where players are and not get caught up on the rotates or being overly aggressive, maybe calling for some help from his duo, Alfalma, he can win a lot more of those fights and put eUnited in such a better position. He's not a bad player at all, but I just think that's just one small problem he could fix to just continue being great.
All right, and you know, Yeti, obviously an outstanding player. He's also hilarious. Like, I feel like
he's a great dancer. He does the worm really well.
Oh, I've heard this. Yes. He's also a really funny interview. And then I just remember Alfalma was giving this interview, and he just like was running around being silly in the background. But we hear a lot about Yeti and Alfalma, Jesse. And we are constantly talking about the impact of the rookies, Rexon and Kansan. But you wanted to shine a spotlight on Grixer.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Grixer, I think, is a player that, like, on the analyst side and, like, the professional players definitely highlight as, like, you know, having their mind as a great player. But I think the public maybe doesn't talk about Grixer as much as they should be. Let's get one thing straight. The only reason eUnited are not getting relegated right now is because of Grixer. If Grixer's not on this team, they probably do not win Villa. And they probably end up facing a Challenger League team in a couple weeks' time. So Grixer, really important player on the squad. I really was impressed with how he played that last matchup, whether it was his 1v3 clutch to start it off, his pulse play a little bit later into the round, the other 3K he got with aggression, you know, the 1v1 in the second last round of the map. I mean, he really stepped it up on Villa. And I think he's a player that really deserves a ton of respect. I mean, he's been with this team longer than any of his other teammates. He's been grinding with these guys for a long time, make it up through Challenger League to get to this position. And the fact that he was able to step up and win a map that they'd had a lot of trouble on in the past, and keep their spot inside of the NAL, it speaks a lot to what type of a player he is, and really like how much mental fortitude he actually brings to this team.
Okay, so we broke it down for eUnited. Now let's talk about Disrupt a little bit. Veli,
Talk to me.
I feel like low-key we've been sleeping on Disrupt a little bit. Like, they had a very close map with TSM. No, for real. You know, they had a close map with TSM. They took OXG and the Sonics to 3 maps. They beat EU. I mean, this isn't bad. They're not killing teams. They're certainly not getting crushed either, though. And Monday, Veli, they looked more coordinated than we've ever seen, in my opinion.
About time, right? You said we were sleeping on him. I was definitely sleeping on him. I was hibernating on him because I didn't see this team really picking it up, to be completely honest. But I was thinking about it not too long ago, and once Knicks got replaced, just that ideology in the game plan and just the style they play has just been totally different. The way they attack roamers was just great. It was magnificent compared to what we've seen before with this roster. They're way more thorough. Reed has picked it up big time, but this is still the guy that I crapped on the most, that's stepping up the most, is Shuttle. As long as Shuttle just performs, period, when it comes to second entry, whatever role you put him on, this team, I mean, they can do well. Do I think that they can beat just about anybody, like I said about eUnited? No. They have a lot more learning to do, but hopefully they continue doing that tonight.
Okay, so funny that you brought up Shuttle because, you know, Jesse, I was going to tease you and say that you're a card-carrying member of the NJR fan club. We used to say that all the time during Stage 1. But he actually struggled last match, and Shuttle and J90, they stepped up. So I want to ask you, do you think if NJR is shut down, is Disrupt essentially shut down, or do you think the rest of this team can compensate?
I think not anymore, right? For NJR, a great player for sure still, but the team doesn't rely on him as much as they did in Stage 1. And that's a really important thing because I think eUnited particularly is a team that can focus down players and can shut them down really well. We saw even that last match against Tempo Storm, eUnited spent 5 rounds getting styled on by Mark, and then spent 29 rounds absolutely shutting him down at every turn. So eUnited know how to counter, a team that relies on one player. Disrupt aren't that team anymore, and I think they've got a good shot going into this matchup.
All right, well, gentlemen, let's roll into the map selection process. Our teams are getting ready, and we're going to try to bring that information up on your screen. Here it is. So talk to me about map vetoes.
Okay, Clubhouse first. This is United's most played map in the NAL. They've had some impressive wins over DZ and Tempo, but some losses too. DG, it's their best map over their summer, so it's a little surprising EU do want to go here. Then we see Oregon being picked by Disrupt. They've only played this map 3 times in the NAL. They've only lost it once, though. It was a 7-8 to SSG. United, I don't love this map for them. They don't ban it at all, but they have kind of been losing it recently. Then we go to Villa. I think Villa will be really close. DG's improved a lot on this map recently, but United obviously got that 1 win just last matchup against Tempo Storm to save themselves from relegation. So Villa's a fun one for EU. Whether we get there or not is a question, but yeah, this is a fun map pool. I think it's going to give us a great series.
You don't take NJR to Clubhouse. I just had to put it out there. You see that fantastic performance on that map, and Clubhouse is going to it's going to set the tone, seriously.
Oh my goodness, Veli, you just scared me when you grabbed your mic. I thought we were having another light malfunction or something. No, it was for dramatic effect. Yes. I apologize. But all right, very quickly, let's talk about predictions. What are you thinking, Veli?
eUnited. Right now, they've showed me more, so why not rock with them, right? Meepy have kicked these boys into shape, and they're better every time we see them. Yeti stays alive, this team wins. Okay,
Jesse, what are you thinking?
I'm going to agree with what Veli said before he made his prediction. You don't take NJR to Clubhouse. Disrupt Gaming, I think, looked really good with these maps. Oregon should be a great one for them. I'm going to take DG in this one.
So, Veli, this isn't your weird jinx thing, right?
No.
Which didn't work against TSM, apparently.
I think United should win. I don't like the map's form. It's going to be a really hard one for them.
Oh, no! That's not what Jesse said, right?
No, I picked Disrupt.
No, you picked Disrupt? Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry. Oh, my goodness. My brain's all over the place. Okay, wow, so you're both split on this. I mean, frankly, I have no idea how this is going to go. It has been absolutely a wild day, and this matchup is just going to be as exciting as the first one. So cannot wait to get to it. But really quickly, let's talk about social, okay? go over to our social media accounts. Yes, the information is right below us. We're always dropping important updates. There's really funny, silly stuff, awesome clips. So please go head on over there, follow us, and don't forget to participate in our community poll as well. We always got a fun question for y'all. I think we said out of Laxton and Bolo who takes better selfies for Group A. So I can only imagine what it's going to be for this matchup. And of course, we got Blue and Stokes as well. And Veli, what?
I was gonna say, you gotta build it up. The winner goes to the
I
qualifiers
was
for
gonna
the
get
major.
there. You didn't let me say it.
Go ahead. You got
Okay,
this.
hold on.
Get hyped, Jackie.
I have to talk about socials. I have to talk about the community poll question.
I was trying to
Then
help you get hyped. I was
Then I
getting you
have to
hyped.
talk about the casters, Blue and Stokes, and then it's hype time. So, I just found out our players are ready. So, okay, everybody, this is for the last spot in the NA qualifier. 7th place gets nothing, zilch, nada. You don't want to get 7. So, here's all the hype. I'm sending all that energy to the camera. Let's go. Super excited for it. Disrupt versus eUnited. We'll be right back.
My favorite moment so far has been beating eUnited. It went down to the wire. I mean, Rexon literally got the most kills ever in a best of 3. There's literally a lot going against us, but we still managed to come out on top thanks to Shuttle and Nick mainly, so it was a really good game.
Every team is competitive in NA right now. Anyone can upset anyone.
Any team can have an off day, and the other team having an on day could just destroy the other team.
I know a lot of teams didn't expect us to beat United, but like that just goes to show that every team is so close. Because United has come close to beating so many top teams, as well as us almost beating OXG.
My playstyle is more on the aggressive side of things. I like to kind of frag out.
Me and J9 work off each other mostly, since we're primary and secondary entry.
I think my playstyle matches pretty well because we have a lot of players who can make plays like Jack and JR and Shuttle, and like me and Reed are kind of just holding it down on site while they all make their plays. Usually we practice a lot, so like we're doing double block scrims or VOD reviews.
We've been going 6 hours a day in practice, and then outside of that, I would say like maybe just an hour T-hunting, warming up or stuff.
Our plans to qualify for the major, obviously, we have a really solid chance at that. A lot better chance than people would give us credit for.
A lot of teams sleep on us because we lost our first 2 games, but people don't really take into consideration that TSM and OXG are some of the best teams in the world, and we took a map off of OXG.
If we win our next game, obviously from there we can qualify for the mini major too, and we expect ourselves to win.
Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. We are just seconds away from getting into our first map on Clubhouse between eUnited and Disrupt. The spot of the major qualifier is on the line for the winner, and for the loser, unfortunately, not much is going to be on the line for them, as they'll be taking 7th place in the the US division of the North American League for this stage. Stokes is with me, and Stokes, let's get your quick thoughts on this matchup and see what we're looking at here. Yo, good.
Apologies, my friend. Apparently my I accidentally bumped my stream deck when I grabbed my mouse and muted my OBS there, so that'll never happen again. But anyways, I'm extremely excited for eUnited versus Disrupt, my man. I mean, there's a lot on the line in between these two squads. Personally speaking, though, I'm on the EU hype train. I don't know how you feel.
I'm personally feeling Disrupt. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment, as we got to get this game started. But before we do that, we have our community poll question as usual. Go ahead over to our Twitter account, at R6 Esports NA, and go ahead and submit your vote. We'll have the results and, of course, talk about if you guys are right or not a little bit later on in the show. It's a bit more of a complicated question as well. We currently have 2 players that are tied for the most clutches in Stage 2. Both of them have 6, but who will have the most by the end of this series? Will it be Grixer or Shuttle? Go over to the Twitter account. Once again, that's at R6 Esports NA, and let us know. And with that said, we should be just a couple seconds away from jumping into the map, folks, and getting things started. Clubhouse is going to be the first battleground, I suppose you could say, between these two teams. They did face against each other on this map quite recently. It was about 2 weeks ago, and it was a very, very close affair, but Disrupt did end up winning it 7-5. We'll waste no more time, though, folks. We are in the map splash screen now, so in just a moment, we'll be heading in game to take a look at the bans and see who will be able to win out in the rematch between these two teams.
Really fun rematch between these two. As you said, Disrupt edging out eUnited the last time. And we were talking right before we got into broadcast, John, about eUnited and how this squad has just not really been clutch inside of the clutch. They really haven't had that chance to make things happen. And when it presents itself, they seem to just always crumble. I don't know if they're going to be able to get past that today, but on paper, eUnited is chalked up to beat Disrupt. It just comes down to what Disrupt shows on the board.
I think as well the maps are going to make for a very interesting sway factor for this matchup. We're going to be going on to Oregon second, and in my opinion, Disrupt had a very convincing performance for it being the first time they played it in an official in a really long time back on Monday. So I think that there's a real potential that if Disrupt can get off to a good start and get themselves the win here on Clubhouse, that they could possibly 2-0 this series if Oregon remains a strong pick for them. But of course, we'll talk more about that when the time comes along. We're already pretty much through the bans here. Maverick and Thatcher, we are following usual meta trends right now, along with Maestro and then Valkyrie for our final ban.
Funny enough that we actually ended up following what we would assume Clubhouse would look like. eUnited actually has some of the most unique bans right now inside of the NAL. Most notably, Hibana and Zof being their top bans for offense, both banning those 4 times. So that's some pretty interesting stuff, especially with Zofia coming in, taking that away from quite a few squads.
It's certainly going to make the hard breach efforts here from the eUnited camp a lot more difficult, especially when it comes to sites like Cache, due to how quintessential opening up things like the balcony wall are going to be to getting adequate site access to be able to take control without having any adequate, counter to the wall denial. It's going to make things a little bit awkward with trying to get that job done. Thankfully, there's plenty of methods to work their way around it, and even better news, we're at least not going to have to immediately worry about that problem when it comes to the wall, thankfully, as we'll be in the basement. They'll still have to worry about things like the hatches, though, as Cade will be coming into play here on NJR.
Oh, and that's a huge thing to notate there. Having Kaid available with Thatcher off the board just makes it to where Kaid is so powerful, especially here on Clubhouse. There's a lot of options for him with those Electro Claws to keep those walls locked down, especially inside of the garage over on the CCTV hold. We've seen a lot of interesting things happen with those Electro Claws. This time around, though, they're focusing on the dirt hold.
This would be important to mention here for our attackers as well, that there is not going to be a Kali coming into play here, at least for this first round. So trying to counter out a lot of that wall denial is going to be a very difficult task, if not outright impossible for United to accomplish, meaning they're going to have to work very horizontally to be able to get control of this. Getting hatch control is not going to be an easy task, but nonetheless, United are out on the board. We've got their players starting to move into the building now. There's not a massive amount of a roam game going on here for Disrupt. In fact, I can't seem to see much of it at all. They might just be full-on turtling downstairs. Yeah, and that would be pretty correct, with the main exception being Retro over on Blue Stairs. So map control is not going to be much of an issue for eUnited. They'll be able to get themselves set up very early on in the round here, and the good news for them is that they'll have all of that excess time to focus on setting themselves up for the actual site take, which quite obviously, as we've already discussed here, is going to be the much more difficult part about this round for them.
Yeah, very smooth sailing ahead of them. Don't have to worry too much about time management as long as they stay on top of their tasks. So we'll see how that plays out. But eUnited actually starting off on their very ill preferred site. I mean, their offense right now, 38.5% on their offensive rounds is what they're looking at over the season, whereas on their defense, 57.4, John. If we look across the field, though, to DG, they're actually a little bit better on offense than eUnited is, but their defense, a little worse than what eUnited has to offer, excuse me, but 47.1%. Some early on engagements here, about a minute 40 down, already have a trade go through. Reed's going to pick up Yeti, but not before NJR falls.
I mean, that's a bold one from Yeti, too. It's very little assistance on that push. Just ends up swinging over into Moto and takes a fight. He's able to win it out, like we said, saw there at the minimum, but unfortunately, due to the setup that was already established by Disrupt, is very easily traded, and they're able to bring it down to a 4v4 with no additional damage going on to the player that did the trading. A lot of work being done right now to try and take out the kitchen hatch. Like we've already talked about many times, this is a super involved process for United right now, due to the fact that they don't have any way to counter the wall denial. They could have bought a Kali, but obviously that can make for a very awkward operator to play, especially against a basement take, so we can see exactly why they've chosen not to do that. But as a result of that, trying to get any of the hatches which were reinforced by Cade is going to be a pretty massive task. Alfama has been able to use one of his breaching charges to get the blue hatch open, if memory serves me correctly, but he's probably going to save the second one instead of more than likely wasting it on trying to open the kitchen hatch for probably trying to open up church or something else like that if the opportunity presents itself, but that's not going to happen as he'll get shut down. But for United, they're holding on. Grixer finds a very nice trade on the shuttle after he gets away with a kill through the floorboards. Rexon as well moves right in and just deletes Retro's head, giving him access to blue.
Nice pick up there by Rex, and it's been the trade game back and forth in between eUnited and Disrupt, and both of them good for it so far, but eUnited now just a man ahead here as J9 and Reed are the only two available for Disrupt to clutch this up inside of our very first round. Still have a decent amount of utility to try and help things, but they have to worry about Grixer and the rest of the squad bullying their way into Kool-Aid. Reed, the only man left alive as he's inside a church. Smoke grenade's down, but he doesn't know exactly where this plant's going down either. Uses the offensive smoke to his availability. Rotates in. Is he going to be able to get the kill? He does. Reed with a very nice pickup, re-smoking the smoke in the hallway to break that line of sight, rotates up to the hallway, able to pick up 2 quick kills. Very well done there on the defensive side.
Beautiful clutch by Reed, where things were not looking that great for Disrupt, and they shouldn't have even really gotten to that point as well. They're Disrupt suffering from a massive amount of lost 1v1s, which thankfully for them, in a large amount of the cases, they were able to pretty much immediately trade them out a lot of the time. But after we saw that blue kill happen, I believe it was Rexon that picked that up from inside of Oil Pit, things started to look really dodgy for them, but thankfully some heroic efforts from Reed start to turn it back around, and he's able to clutch it out by denying the plant and running us down to 0 timer. Beautifully played by him.
Okay, well, eUnited still having some problems on this offense. I mean, they got the picks that they needed, ended up with man count up. I mean, 3-on-2, eventually into the 3-on-1, but just stood flat-footed, assumed that Disrupt wasn't going to try and make a play, and that's exactly what happened. So you have to give it up to Reed at the end of the day. I mean, Reed, that's a great round for him. He hasn't been having the best stage 2 that we've seen, from him. He's usually a player that has a really, really high impact, but this stage, rating of a 0.79, negative 32 on that KD, but that doesn't mean that he can't get those big rounds or those big impact frags that could still have an influence.
I'm going to add 2 to that counter at least on the last round, start to turn that KD around a little bit.
There you go.
At least begin the efforts for it. And in the other side of the coin, now that Disrupt does have the basement locked down, they're going to shift to the site we would expect them to go to next, which is going to be upstairs here in CCTV and Cache. Quite a bit of an emphasis from them, of course, on reinforcing that left side garage wall, even putting the Cade denial, I believe that's Cade, yeah, Cade denial right on top of that to ensure that United are not going to be able to get easy vision onto the top catwalk this early on into the round. They'll put a little bit more effort into it in order to take that electric claw out and open up that POV if they really want to go for it, considering the denial is there in the first place. Currently, just a passive mute denial on the balcony wall as well. And like I've said many times, they're going to have to try and get Zofia in position below this floor. That'll be the easiest way to try and knock it out. But more than likely, there's an active effort from Disrupt that's going to, well, disrupt that, as we'll be holding top red, and more than likely Reed or another player downstairs, it's going to be NJR there, will look to interfere with this process as well.
Well, they kind of went right around your process there, John. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, they went right to CCTV window, made sure there was no ADSs, and then breaching rounded the wall.
That's another way to do it, too.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier. There's so many ways to handle a lot of the things that you're faced with, especially on this site. I mean, for CCTV alone, there's 2 to 3 ways to be able to handle things. I mean, for instance, the electroclaw on garage is there so that they can't get the panel open to have any effect on the wall from that way, or cut somebody off from playing the window inside of the catwalk area. So there's a lot of options for this eUnited squad. They just choose to do it more horizontally. Don't want to try and take map control and let DG get an early pick.
Low-key really bad they opened it that way. Messed with my nice explanation and everything. I thought that was going to look really great.
You did really good. I was like, dude, John is killing this
and
today.
They
and then I saw him open the
other
CC
way.
window.
So,
oh, no.
eUnited is mounting a pretty large force over at the breach right now. 2 players on rappel with Ace standing up. Ace is going to be swinging a little bit here, trying to see if he can find the catwalk player for Disrupt. There is one sitting back there. Can't get a good confirmation as to who it is exactly just yet, but it's looking like now that we get to see it, it's Reed that's going to be holding the line here. You can also probably toss in a couple of those smoke charges from there if the need arises, but he's got to be careful with that, obviously, as he might reveal his POV if he tries to do that. So right now, just kind of holding the angle. You'll note that he's got himself the FMG as well to try and take duels at a bit of a longer range, a bit more efficiently, due to the fact that that SMG-11 is not going to last for a super long gunfight. So better just use it under those circumstances. United, despite having that player count stacked up at the breach, don't feel confident enough to push it yet. They've been lacking intel more than likely as to what's going on in Cache, so they don't really want to take a huge risk on just rushing in and hoping for the best. So this is going to start to get dangerous. They're now down to 30 seconds, and time is going to make them run out of options here relatively soon.
Yeah, this is quite questionable looking at eUnited's drone economy right now. I mean, it's really, really injured. They have a lot of options here to try and affect these defensive positions, but they're just not utilizing it. And now we're just going for kills. We're going to try and flood in, and it's not working out at all for eUnited. Disrupt all over the board. Retro teeing it off with a Nitro Cell as well. 4-on-1. Grixer the only man left alive as he gets 2. Still going to need a double, but not enough time on the board as Disrupt wrap things up with a bow here on round 2. eUnited, John, they get the wall on good time as well. Like, they had a minute and I believe 50 seconds left to do whatever they wanted to do. All they did was waste their drones, didn't go for garage control, didn't go for stock with Buck. There was a lot of options there for them to try and make these defenders move into line of sights that were easier for them to handle, and they just never went for it.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, I didn't pay super close attention to their hard breach count later on in the round, so it could have just been they were out of hard breaches to do this, but I was very surprised they didn't try to go for master or even construction control as well, because I'm assuming they would have had at least an additional Selma to try and open up one of those walls if they were reinforced, and they could have tried to look for another avenue that way. So it's a bit surprising they didn't decide, I should say, to try and go through one of those routes. But like I said, I wasn't paying super close attention to the utility. They might have not had that option if all 3 of the Selmas were used at that point in the round.
Well, if these offenses keep going this way, I might really regret picking eUnited for this. But we're gonna figure that out. Obviously, like we talked about earlier, their defense is much better than their offense. Don't exactly know what's the disconnect in between those. Yeah, exactly, that as well. Especially with the bans that we have on for the offense. I mean, you got to give them the benefit of the doubt at the end of the day. We'll see how they fare when they're going into Master, but a lot of squads have gotten really, really good at holding this site down, so it's still going to be a difficult path.
See how Disrupt are able to hold it. Per record, I think they actually have the most trouble with their basement holds, if I'm remembering the stats correctly, but I can browse those in a moment if we get the chance. A lot of reinforcement going on to that trip wall right there. Technically, it's a double wall and a single wall, but whatever. As they're going to throw a Cade down there to be able to reinforce that and prevent as much attacker access as possible. This is also going to give a little bit of breathing room to NJR, of course, as he's going to be playing on the inside of Cash, looking to delay. He's created a bit of an iron box for himself to try and survive in, and hopefully, if not trade 1 for 1 at a minimum, waste a massive amount of time away from United's clock here.
Yeah, NJR's job is just to sit on an island here, waste time, as you said, and try and get rid of all those hard breaches. We'll see if he can do that. He's not going to have a shield for his cross or anything, so this is more than likely just an island setup. He's going to sit here and try and gun out if it's possible. But for right now, eUnited still trying to get some information. Still early timings here for eUnited, so not the worst thing in the world. Offensive lineup looking quite similar to what we had the last time. Actually, verbatim, that's exactly what it is. Grixer back onto the Buck, but this time now Skeleton Keying inside of stock, which I would have loved to have seen him do last time. Trying to work this Vigil out of here. Almost gets the pick up, but the Vigil's good for it. Keeps fighting back. NJR going to take quite a bit of damage inside of Cash to start us off.
It's going to create a bit of an awkward situation for NJR. Obviously, he doesn't have the top-down angles to worry about now. I think you can see the foot. Yep, does get a little bit of damage in response here, but he's also going to lose a bit of his wall as it's hard breached partially through from the looks of things, and he's no longer going to be safe in that position. I think that was actually, yeah, it looked like that was a thermite charge going onto the ground to possibly do that. So that's a creative use of it, to say the least, from Alfama. We'll have to see if they end up needing that later on in the round. More than likely not. This might have actually been a pretty good choice, especially considering it's completely flushed NJR out and back to the site.
It was really, really smart because NJR was so distracted with other things, as well as he didn't have the holes above the wall for the audio cue for the thermite charge going off. So putting it on the floor makes it to where not only do you not have any visual, but the audio is also extremely muffled. And obviously, since he's so focused on the Buck downstairs, he lets the wall blow up. So very unfortunate there for Disrupt. They still rotate out, lose nobody. Got a lot of damage onto Grixer, though. So some positives still here for the defensive squad.
Down to the last minute as well, so you can certainly say he's accomplished his goal of wasting time here. We'll have to see how much eUnited are able to use the construction position that they'll now get by forcing him back, of course, as there's still lots of things to be dealt with, like that triple wall that's denied right now by their Kaid, and there's not really much hope, I think, of getting rid of that at this point, considering they don't really have the adequate utility to do so, unless they were going to be able to get a nice concussion charge through. And oh, never mind. They were able to find it, it looks like, as I believe it was either downstairs or in a position they would have had access to. So they're getting rid of that electric wall, and they're going to be able to get Logi access after here. Nice find by the United crew.
Well, now it's the patience game for Disrupt as eUnited needs to get this offense moving. 20 seconds remain. They don't have much map control around the site either. 3 men inside of logistics as Alfama gets down. Diffuser currently on Kansan, but they're all being affected by this Banshee. Nice pickup here by Kansan. Can he do it again, though? No follow through. Shuttle. Very nice 2K for him. Only 5 seconds remain now as eUnited needs to get this plant down, but they don't even have case control. This is going to be yet another round going to Disrupt. Great series so far from them.
Disrupt, at least on the previous 2 rounds, have been doing a fantastic job of funneling eUnited into a singular point of action to try and make their execute work. And, you know, those pretty much go as you expect. Your setup just needs one call that, like, okay, everybody's coming through this doorway, and it takes only a couple seconds to rotate the rest of your defensive setup into position to just completely shut that down, as we've seen on the last 2 rounds here. Obviously, with a couple trades being the exception, but for the most part, DG has handled the last 2 rounds with class here. And now they get to go back to the basement, which arguably was their closest loss here so far, but due to the good heroics from Reed, they were able to save it and win that site as well.
So eUnited, that last round, just taking quite a bit of time to actually get towards the site. I'd say they did a pretty good job of clearing out cache, some really intelligent utility usage to get that full on and cleared with the hard destruction. But when it came through to the follow-up, to actually clear utility next to site and start getting map control, it seemed that eUnited had nothing inside of that fight at all. I mean, they didn't have information, they had nothing to clear utility. They were simply walking at Disrupt and hoping that the gunfights went well, and that's something that we really haven't seen eUnited do for some time on either side of the coin. They're usually the team that really likes to get in those engagements and get in those early fights. I mean, we saw that inside of the first round. It's just really, really slowed down now, and I don't know whether it's that they don't like it or how it was really, you know, performing inside of that first round. They think that they could try and get around Disrupt some other way, but for me, I mean, you're up 3-1 utilizing that in the first round, and then you go away from it. I don't know exactly where the disconnect is there.
All right, well, let's see if eUnited is going to be able to seal the deal on the basement attack this time, coming so close to victory in a 3v1 scenario as well, only to fall by Reed denying the planter and one other player in the final seconds of it. Obviously, repeating the same strategy more than likely going to work for them. They'll just have to pay closer attention to that church position in the event they take the site in similar fashion here. Much like the previous round as well, Roam presence set pretty much a bar minimum here for Disrupt. Retro once again being the only glaring exception to that. He's going to be holding in the same spot over here at top blue steps, waiting to see if he can catch any overeager players in garage. Drone, I believe, did pass him, so he's more than likely spotted at this point. If not, he would have just gotten spotted by Rexon right here, but he's already funneled himself back deeper into blue to await the push from Oil, or of course the stairs themselves.
You know, you got a lot of site construction when Disrupt is still putting things together with a minute off the board in action phase. There's a lot of stuff going on here for Disrupt, making some new things into blue so that Reed can assist with, I believe, Oil Pit. So DG on the full turtle setup hype train once again. Have some more utility dedicated to Church, though, to try and slow them down once they're trying to go for walls. Grixer's going to get down and actually fragged out. Don't exactly know where that happened, but I'm going to assume it was through vertical play from J9 there. And yes, it's all the way up top. That's actually 2 times that we've seen that this season now, where a buck goes up to logistics and ends up getting fried through vertical play.
Super unfortunate. At a very minimum, it's not an even exchange, but hey, they're able to get the hatch open for their troubles due to distracting J9 and getting him to waste the rest of his impacts from the looks of his utility. So that job has been done. They've got their access point, but once again, that's the crux of the situation, is they haven't had problems doing that in the previous 2 rounds either. But when they've used that singular execution point, they've pretty easily gotten shut down by trying to go through it. The good news, however, is that with basement, those options usually open themselves up with relative ease, so I would heavily doubt that eUnited is going to just funnel everybody through that hatch, as we can already see from Yeti's position, which is very bold, and he's probably a little confused right now. He's made it all the way into church, hasn't seen a soul just yet. Somehow Reed didn't catch him, literally just running into the site, so Yeti's going to get a free one off of that. That's site control going over. A lot of the other members of the team are also going to drop through hatch here, and that's going to lead to a 1-for-1 exchange to bring us back down to a 3v3. First plant attempt is being made, I believe, in Arsenal here. J9's going to get lost deep sight, but again, Retro's there to trade. However, he's not going to last long either. Kansan gets his 3rd kill on the round. Now NJR alone trying to retake this. He gets the angle onto Kansan, but Kansan has no real reason to swing on this and take the fight. That's going to pressure him for time. Nitro goes out. If he blew it up initially, he might have been able to take him down, but he's missed the opportunity. Kansan has rotated, taken out NJR, and eUnited finally have a round on the board in their attacking half.
You know what that long haul and America have in common? They're just so free. Just so free. Absolutely ridiculous that Yeti was even allowed to do that. I mean, he just walks up the hallway and walks into sight. And on top of that, John, not only does he shoot the only gun in the game that sounds that way, but he also walks into a Banshee. Like, what other audio cues do you guys need to know that Yeti is inside of your building trying to kill you? He just walks in, shoots Reed in the side of his head, and then just has church control. No one stopped him. No one on cameras. No one concerned about the hallway. eUnited. I mean, this is like your calling card. This is where the aggression should happen. Let's see these early entries try and get something done. I mean, if you drone that out and there's no utility or overwatch on that area, you might as well take it. I mean, you just walked in and practically owned the place. So, I mean, nice read there by eUnited, and, you know, great attempt by Yeti. He kind of went on a, you know, rogue mission there, but ended up working out for him.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to Yeti as well, that's the second time he's gotten away with that, or at least made it to the bottom of main stairs with no one from Disrupt countering it. The first round, he was able to go over towards Moto, and he took a fight much earlier on, obviously, just to get the 1-for-1. But this time, yeah, he's allowed to go all the way up through main hall into church, and he's in there for a good 5 to 10 seconds before anybody even sees him, and that's after they kill his teammate. So very awkward turn of events, to say the least, but very, very influential for the eUnited roster to be able to put themselves on the board here at 1-3. Now time to see if they can carry that forward, though, as this next series of sites the Disrupt are going to unlock over this round and the next have looked a lot more convincing for our defenders, so should be a much greater task for eUnited to try and accomplish it here.
Yeah, I think that this is going to get the ball rolling for eUnited. They just need that little bit of confidence boost, and they got it on the right people. I mean, Grixer 5-2-3 right now, the most clutch player on this entire squad, and you have Kansan at 6-0-3, and this guy right here does it all. When I checked his stats today and compared them to Stage 1 and what we saw from other players, I mean, Kansan across the board is a jack of all trades. Whatever you need this man to do, he's got it. Right now, he's running the ace, and though hard destruction used to be a hindrance for anybody that really wanted to kill a lot of people, Ace is not that. Ace has that AK-12, really, really strong weapon, as well as some great hard destruction. So giving Kansan that really strong pair there.
Once again, able to open up the balcony wall relatively early on in the round. A nice frag grenade is placed right over the wall, takes out the mute or Kaid jam. I think it was a mute jam replaced in there, so it's going to be able to get rid of that very quickly and open up the wall for access for United once again. We can already see players trying to establish positions elsewhere on the map too, which is a good sign, as that was the biggest issue with their attack last time, was they really only had that breach to work with, and it kind of funneled them into a kill box at the end of the round. This time, things are looking like they could be different, but there's also some counteraction coming in from the Disrupt side of things. Most notably, you can see NJR way over in strip right now, so they are definitely looking to economer out the map control that eUnited is looking to gain for themselves too. And I mean, even if eUnited goes for it, there's a lot of resistance upstairs on the construction side. You can see they have the committed deployable shield set up right there, so getting control of these other parts of the map is not going to be easy. And once again, eUnited is very quickly running out of time to take those parts of the map.
Yeah, and that's the main issue, is the timer is the king of the round. It's going to dictate what your decisions can be and what they can't be. So for eUnited, they're still really stuck on wanting the CCTV control and trying to get the diffuser down there. Probably ill-advised to try and rotate towards construction simply because Disrupt is playing for that to be open. They have the deployable shield as well as the entire double panel for construction with a hole through it, so they're able to play that off of green box. I mean, Disrupt are still in full control of this round. The only thing that eUnited even has a, you know, slight hand in is that CCTV wall. That's the only area they could possibly even walk into, but if you do, more than likely going to die. J9 with a really nice pickup. NJR going to pick one up as well, but it's Yeti to the call once again. Here's the smoke jump down, but instead sprints, and that's going to put his gun down. He gets eaten alive by Reed. All left up to Alfama now on breach. He does have the case, but he's got people on every single side of him. I don't see this going very well as he enters the building. He is immediately shut down by the shotgun of Shuttle and Disrupt. That's going to be 4 rounds for them on their defense.
I don't know how Yeti keeps getting into these super forward positions, but he keeps just showing up
so
randomly
late, man?
and killing
Why
like
so
one
late?
person, and then he just disappears. I don't know what is. I mean, to be fair, the analysts were talking about him needing to step up on the entry department, and he should be winning it because he's gotten the first kill every single round so far, I think, with maybe like round 2 being the exception.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, eUnited looking quite solid. They're getting their initial things done for their sites. It just seems to be that if they don't have those early entry kills, that they're not really, you know, going to do too much. Again, we go back to the whole map control thing. We really didn't see them try and go for anything else. They just kind of stood outside on timer, waited, and then eventually executed into a hail of gunfire from Disrupt. So we're going to head back over to Master. They've seen this one before as well, so probably going to have a better game plan when it comes to this. The previous round, they got stuck up inside of logistics, where Reed and that exact Banshee that you just put down really put a thorn in a lot of their plans. There was nothing going on for eUnited inside of that Master take.
Yeah, like you were talking about before, eUnited playing a lot for early kills right now, but Disrupt's playstyle doesn't really match that from eUnited with server. Disrupt is playing very, very conservative right now, you know, really only extending their setups if they can really set up the rooms they're trying to extend into, such as on this site, for instance, where they're going to set up NJR or another one of their players on the inside of Cash. They haven't really had any of these wild roams where the player isn't really supported by any reinforcements or additional utility in the room, you know, he or she is sitting in. But at the end of the day, even when we have seen that, they haven't actually met any fights. So eUnited, despite trying to play for these early picks, is just not having much luck actually being able to find them right now. So they might need to try and shift away from that and get a little bit more active early on to at least get more map control here.
Yeah, I actually think that that's the perfect thing to say there, John. Be more proactive than reactive. I think that they're trying to allow Disrupt to make those early mistakes, let them fall into the trap. They get the early pick, then eUnited's allowed to do what they want to do, right? But that's not how it is. Like you said, Disrupt has been setting up their sites as more of a horizontal hold, which works so damn well, guys. Let me tell you, these horizontal holds where you can support your entire team with utility are so strong. And unless there's some mistake that's made from the squad or eUnited just has a really good game plan on how to make these people move, it's probably not going to go their way. We saw the last time that eUnited were actually able to get NJR out of cash quite early on here. We might actually have a repeat of that, but they still weren't able to really gather the map control that they needed to force that plant down.
So NJR is able to interrupt the first attempt to open the wall. That's going to eat up a thermite charge as well, so not going to be able to use that later on around. Thankfully, in the previous round, they didn't really seem to need that extra charge, even though it did end up giving them logistics access. Good news is they still have 3 Selmas as well, so losing just the thermite charge is not going to be the end of the world here if Alfama ends up wasting the second one, as he's just now used it. It is going to be used to open up, looks like the red wall, though, and that'll give them actual access as it goes off this time. NJR gets a lot of damage on Rexen, but no kill. Never mind, there it is. Reed, in the meanwhile, is able to take down another member of the eUnited roster, and just like many, many rounds in the past, Disrupt have the early advantage off of their more passive holds here, and they are going to be able to just fall back upon that now. There's no reason for them to continue holding aggressive positions. They've got the man advantage. Let eUnited come to them now.
Yeah, really, really big problems for eUnited here. Disrupt still every man up, but they know exactly where NJR is. Nice pre-fire there from Alfama to take him down. Still plenty of time as well, some hard destruction. So still have some chances here to get some map control. Case is in Alfama's hands as Yeti and Grixer rotate away from Cash. Yeti going to be on Master, just trying to get some picks here as those are desperately needed. They were able to take down NJR, but with the remaining members of Disrupt, they still have a lot of utility to be able to stop plant, especially with those nitro cells. Nice. But nice pickup here from Alfama onto Retro. That's the mute off the board here. We're actually making some really good progress. Stun grenades in now, going to clear these ADSs, which is the calling card for Yeti to hop in. More than likely going to be some gunfights ensuing soon. Alfama with a nice pickup as well. That's going to be a triple kill for him on the round. One of the best rounds we've seen from him in quite a long time. Grixer going to make it even more difficult for Disrupt now, but it's going to be a trade. And Yeti takes down J9 for eUnited's second offensive round before the switch.
Fragmite stepping up to the plate there. Beautiful stuff from Alfama. Members of eUnited not having much of a say in that round, to be honest, considering it had gone down to the 3v4 situation, but they're able to make it work anyway. And that's off of the great entry work from Alfama, taking out the player in the bathroom, and I believe one of them in the back of logistics as well, opening up a lot more possibilities for their team to flood out onto the site and handle the gunfights that remained with a lot more room to work with there. Great stuff by him. Opens up that second round for eUnited, and just in time as well, as the half is now over. We've got a 2-4 scoreline as the teams will switch sides.
Yeah, I personally, I just think that eUnited needs to stop working out and, you know, spend more time making attacks. Like, come on, guys. Squatting is not that important, and attacks are. Maybe if Yeti played shirtless, eUnited would win more. That's just personally how I feel about it. I don't know how you feel about it, but yeah. I mean, hey, man, like, we can get him some pasties. That's fine. He'll be all right, you know? Like, then you're technically speaking not shirtless.
I suppose.
Hashtag free the nip, John.
I'd like to move on from this topic, please.
Anyways, on to things that actually matter. eUnited switching over to defense, which we talked about earlier. This is their most potent side. So this is where we're going to see them light up that scoreboard. But I will say this about that offense. I really would have liked to see them utilize Yeti more often just because he was really, really impactful in a lot of those rounds, getting a lot of good entry kills and really opening things up for eUnited to have a chance. But he was just utilized so late quite often that it didn't have the influence that they were really looking for.
There's a couple rounds where he was able to make the first strike for the team, and often on those basement attacks as well. He was able to find quite a bit of impact, as the round where he was able to take down Reed should kind of speak for itself there, on top of the 1-for-1 trade, along with the intel that he was able to get back in round number 1 too. But like Stoke said, we didn't really see a lot of the early action, with maybe 1 or 2 rounds being the exception outside of those 2 basement attacks. Still a little bit of setup being done here by eUnited. Just a couple more walls to throw up here. They have left the third church panel soft, just as an interesting note there. So there's going to be a little bit of play capability that'll be opened up for eUnited. Same can be said for Disrupt, however. So we'll have to wait and see how that will potentially play out for both teams when we get into a late round situation.
Just looked up for my notes here, and Yeti, what a very interesting position for him. Kansan's got an electro claw for the hatch, so they're not going to be able to get that literally at all. I mean, their only chance is to have J9 try and get it with that Kali charge, but that's going to be really, really difficult because you have to choose the proper corner if it's, spaced out appropriately. So this is probably not going to be their best option here, but that's a really strong position for Yeti there with that deployable shield, as well as using those Momai discs to be able to help himself. Lots of good stuff coming out from eUnited already on this defense so far.
The good news, though, is like you said, with the Kali, they should be able to counteract it if they choose to open the hatch. Still has all 3 of the charges as well on J9, so it shouldn't be much of an issue to do that unless they're really trying to save one for the church wall in the event they need to use 2 on a single wall here. Retro's going to be jumping into kitchen, which means we can more than likely expect the kitchen hatch to be the next logical target here for Disrupt to try and open things up. Still with over a minute to go, a lot of lead-in time before we kind of get to any point where Disrupt are going to feel the need to aggress into the site. J9 is starting to take up positions on top of that blue hatch as well, looking to see if he can find any players sitting behind that with their usual hold to try and take out and get them an early frag. Much like what we saw from the Disrupt roster in the first half, though, there's not much of a roam game here from eUnited extended out from their actual site. They're playing very turtle heavy right now, so it's up to Disrupt to make the action start here with the remaining 40 seconds on the clock.
Well, we'll see if Disrupt can hop too, because if not, eUnited's going to be walking away with a round strictly off of a turtle. This is looking a lot like what we saw from eUnited on their offense, but hey, that's just kind of how Clubhouse plays. It's a lot of finagling back and forth and eventually trying to force your way onto site, especially with no early kills here. Stun grenades out for DG now as Retro's going to drop down the kitchen hatch, but he's immediately eaten up. Now Case down. They're going to have to drop somebody down in order to pick that back up and start this plan. Otherwise, this round is already done. But some nice moves here from eUnited, picking up a lot of frags. J9-1 with the sniper as well. Alfama, though, with the refrag. It's all down to Reed in the back of Armory, but that's quickly done and dusted as well. eUnited, round 7 in the bag.
And a very straightforward closeout there from eUnited. Much like the issues they faced on their attacking side, seems like that ugly problem showed up for Disrupt as well. Not being able to get anywhere near the map control that they really needed. They try to go for a Hail Mary drop through that kitchen hatch, and we saw that Retro getting immediately dropped as soon as he goes down that hatch. No one else seemed to want to follow his suit, but a lack of time kind of forced the issue as players tried to push in from a couple different angles, but ultimately not with too much success there, as eUnited shut it down pretty quickly and take their own 3rd round. Only one more away from tying it now as they head up to CCTV.
Well, sounds like Clubhouse. Smells like Clubhouse. It's probably Clubhouse. This is how it goes. So we'll head up to CCTV and see if eUnited can show us something fresher than what we saw from Disrupt. So far, though, the offensive units for both of these teams just very lackluster, just not able to get the entry frags needed, some disjointed stuff once they actually try and go for a plant there. Like, Disrupt is going for an armory plant, and there was really no concern once the man dropped on where the positioning was for any of these eUnited members over towards AK or towards Dirt Tunnel, and right when he drops, he's just shot in his back with almost no overwatch. So I don't know exactly how that happened, because obviously we're on his perspective, but somebody done goofed, because that's not supposed to happen there. So we'll see if Disrupt can possibly fix that up here on their CCTV attack. When we saw eUnited go up against this setup, they really didn't get the map control needed. That's been the highlight of both of these offensive units so far. So we'll see if Disrupt tries to get past that CCTV and work towards other parts of the map.
Yeah, both teams trying to kind of force the issue in multiple departments right now, and both teams trying to figure out how to get out of that, as it's clearly not working. Disrupt may be a bit hard-headed on it, though, and try us out for 1 or 2 more rounds here. But eUnited certainly was working to sort of push themselves away from that towards the end of their own attacking half. Unfortunately, with limited degrees of success, they were only able to get those 2 rounds. Those 2 rounds is enough, especially on Clubhouse, considering how defender-sided this map can sometimes be. And now they have the opportunity to start swinging this in their direction, especially if they win things out here and tie us up. Disrupt moving pretty quickly to set their players up over on the balcony wall. They already have their hard breach in position to open it, and I don't imagine there would be much delay now that the Kali is here. So much like what we were seeing from eUnited, shouldn't be too much of a problem here to get this wall open with still plenty of time remaining on the clock.
Well, this time around, we are going to have an active bandit trick. United favoring the mute over that. So we'll see if Grixer has, Disrupt favoring the mute over that. We'll see if Grixer has any success with these bandit batteries. But as of right now, eUnited concerned about the proper things. They have Yeti downstairs to be able to help Grixer in any regard, whether it be nitro selling them on the entry through the hatch or what have you, or through the breach, or what have you. But as of right now, Grixer is in the war zone. Stun grenades pouring in as well as frag grenades as he's trying to deny this, but not going to have the chance. Secondary frag grenade in, and he's going to get lit up out the door. Wall now open for Disrupt with only half the timer down.
Too much coverage from the window where NJR was just at a moment ago, so just not really any real capability for Grixer to try and get on that without taking a massive risk to his life. And even then, if he goes down, there's still a possibility that he doesn't get the battery down in time and the wall doesn't get denied, so it's just too risky. And even in the retreat, still loses 50 of his HP, so very much made the smart decision there, Grixer did, because he still has those additional batteries that he can now put down on the construction wall and cause further delay for Disrupt anyway. Plus, the wall's not the end of the world. We already saw eUnited get that open many times and still ultimately fail to take control of the site at least once, so there's still a bit more work to be done here for Disrupt, despite the victory on opening up that wall. We can see quite a few members of eUnited as well still in position downstairs that haven't been cleared out. That's a lot of bodies that can very quickly fall back and pinch on this sort of a push here. As once again, Disrupt looking to try and get themselves in, straggling for any sort of positioning with only 30 seconds left.
Disrupt is going to shift gears over to a construction take. They shot the bandit batteries through the wall. Some really good Z-ping usage there by the offense, but I was snickering a little bit ago because eUnited had 3 members at the top of red, and that was probably the worst cluster of people that we could have seen there. All the armor, the defending members of the team sitting in those extremely pivotal anchor positions, all just rushed to the top of red. But they don't really exactly have anywhere to sit right now, especially with this wall open. They're going to try and fight back in, but Retro immediately starts putting the plant down. Nice adjustment here from Disrupt, but Kansan finally fires back. Nice pickups here, well needed as Rexon's going to attack on as well. They're looking for the planter, and they got it. Kansan, that jack of all trades that we were talking about, coming up huge inside of round 8.
Just once again, the same story we've been talking about this entire map here. Too much denial coming in from the defensive side, too much to fight against to try and get into the site for the attackers, and they don't want to take the risk on it. So time continues to tick down. They, as you said, tried to rotate over and take that construction control for themselves, and at a minimum, they were able to get off to a good start moving themselves in, but it wasn't long considering that they probably didn't have great intel at that point before the trades started coming back again from the defensive side of things. United have no problem managing that one. A little bit scary there, and they almost don't deny that plant, and that could have opened up some possibilities, but they are able to stop it at the final second of it being planted and win out the round. They're now tying us up at 4-4 and taking us over to their third and final site, which is going to be here in Gym, because you know it's not Bar.
You do know it's not Bar. Unless your name's Flynn, then it's not, but then it's probably Bar. I mean, hey. But I will say this, at least Disrupt got further than eUnited did. They're showing a little bit more success on their offense. The CCTV attack went well. I like how they utilized their utility, especially using those drones for that Z-ping to get rid of the bandit batters through the wall. Very cheeky, very, very intelligent usage there from them. But eUnited with a hell of a retake. And that's the scary thing when you look at these two squads. And personally, that's why I think eUnited's defensive win rate is so high. I mean, these guys are so difficult to gunfight when it's their environment.
Very much the case. United have been very much trying to force the issue against Disrupt, similarly to how Disrupt were trying to do it from their own defensive half, but United really thriving in it right now. Disrupt have tried their best to work their way in on the previous 2 rounds, but have had very, very minimal success with it so far. They just need to try and find a way to bargain in a little bit sooner, that or gather the intel that we know that they can do. They had no problem doing that against the Sonics on Monday, especially on their Oregon match, where they were faced with a lot of very similar situations that also looked like they didn't really have a dog in the fight to get, or a horse in the race, whatever your terminology is there, to get themselves into the site, but ultimately were still able to win it due to great drone intel that they gathered in the previous 30 or 40 seconds before that. That was something that we saw in their basement attack, just to give an example there, back on Oregon on Monday. So need to see a little bit more of that, and then Disrupt could get themselves on a winning foot once again pretty easily here.
Oh, very unfortunate there for Disrupt and specifically Reed, but he's still got a Selma out, going to toss it on here. See if Alfama is able to get rid of it, but he's definitely not going to be able to get rid of it before the first one goes off. So they're still going to have some visuals into there. More than likely going to be able to watch the rotate as well if they stand on the actual roof. So that's actually a really nice position here for Disrupt to be able to cut off anything going on inside of construction. But the bad thing is that for right now, it looks like Disrupt wants to push through here. So really what they're only going to be able to do is cut off that one lane for any eUnited members to move forward.
2/5 of their hard breach utility is now gone as well. Not with the first one being completely wasted, of course, and the second one only able to open up the one charge, which just gives them an angle more than anything else. You can't even really use it from the ground level here, as we can see from NJR's perspective. So we have to try it from the roof. Good nade in the meanwhile here from Shuttle, who was able to take down one of the defenders, Kansan. I don't even know where that nade was thrown specifically, but it sent Kansan flying into the next dimension. Nice one. Looks like it came through the floor there from Shuttle.
Yeah, he looks like me after a Friday night. Like just laid out on the floor. He's not having a very good time,
You just
man.
lay down,
I'm tired.
We'll talk to you soon.
There we go. Oh, the very smart usage here by NJR. Instead of using the roof, he repels on the side of the building so he can get a deeper angle into construction. Picks off a member of eUnited for that as well. Fama and Kansan now down, and having Kansan off the board especially not something that eUnited's looking forward to. They do still have quite a few members alive, though. It's a 3v5 right now, and we've had a pretty dormant Rexen so far, so this might be the round where he pops off.
Here's coming in that drone intel that I was talking about before, though. Disruptor doing okay. Disruptor were doing some good work until Yeti decided to throw a Nitro Cell and completely decimate the pushing force trying to work their way into Jim. Rexen is also going to get tripped up here, too, as he goes down, however. So the game is not over just yet. They're even going to be able to retrieve NJR, bringing him back from the dead. Oh, never mind. Shuttle rolls right up, shuts down both Yeti and Rexen, and very swiftly secures this round for Disrupt.
Do you know what happened?
I missed how they died at the stairs. I didn't see that.
Rexen impacted the wall and downed himself.
Okay, I had a feeling it was a self down, but I'd hoped
I thought it was a
something else.
grenade,
Yeah.
but then I was like, the Banshee's still alive. And I was like, oh no, he impacted himself. He tried to confirm the down. Just, oh man, that's a rough one there for EU.
Well, eUnited running into a few bumps in the road here are going to lose control of the lead just when they were about to gain it as well. So much effort to bring it back up to 4-4, starting this half down from 2-4, and now only to lose it yet again. But thankfully, still only one round behind. Plenty of work to be done to bring this back, and they get to route back over to the sites where they've had arguably much better performances so far. Here as they'll head into the basement defense for the second time. Now on round at number 10. Disrupt have a lot more work to do here if they want to find their own 6th round and put themselves on that point.
Yeah, we'll have to see how they fare this time around. Disrupt so far, again, it goes to that back to that thing where they really haven't found the progress that they really want with their offensive unit. They've done it a couple of times, though. We will give them that. We talked about that inside of round 8, where they were able to get construction open and try and go for a plant. We need to see something along those lines here on, the basement sites, especially inside of Armory. They went for the Armory execute the last time, and it ended up getting thwarted extremely well by eUnited. There was really nothing there for Disrupt at all. Immediately dropped the hatch. Case gets dropped after they're able to frag out the first man in, and eUnited walked away with that round. So for Disrupt, I think it's trying to set things up and be ready for when eUnited are going to attempt to rush you down while you're going for that plant. We'll see how it works out. eUnited going to have the same setup as they had last time as well. I want to see if Disrupt pushes into this setup that Yeti has inside of Moto. I just find it so interesting. I haven't seen this utilized.
Yeah, kind of got ignored on the previous round due to them trying to primarily execute in from Arsenal. So let's see if we get a little bit more action over there towards the Moto setup this time. They have the capability to get past it, assuming they brought the Cali again, which they did on J9s. They still have that capability to open it without too much of an issue here, but focus, of course, on the easier hatches first. Reed's going to use one of the 3x Kairos to pop open the blue hatch. I do not see a Kaid charge over on the kitchen hatch, but that doesn't mean that they don't have one in their pocket. It's actually going to be left, not denied right now by Kansan, as he probably has the second one on the church wall, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue. Excuse me, yeah, the dirt tunnel. Thank you very much, Cyano, for showing us that. Yeah, away from that, they should be able to get the other hatch open pretty easily too. So most of that Cali effort is going to be used to get Moto hatch open if they even want to go for it. So we'll have to see what Disrupt choose to do, because like I said, they ignored it on the previous round, if I'm remembering it correctly. So they might choose to do that again here, considering they've gotten the other 2 hatches for free.
Oh, I see what's going on here. Okay, so eUnited not bringing any impacts for impact tricking, so they want Disrupt to go for this attack into the Armory area. They've brought a lot of utility here to support that. Alfama's shield on AK is really going to help him there, because if they take blue control, he's still going to be able to exist here and use his toxic smoke. So lots of good things here for eUnited that I did not initially see before. So this is probably the positioning in which Disrupt got caught up with last time, just because it's a little unorthodox. Usually you see smoke inside of Dirt Tunnel here. So, I mean, really strong setup for eUnited. Disrupt making good progress, though. Breaking up this floor as well as getting these hatches open.
Hansen just waiting for the timing to try and use that Nitro cell. We are going to see the X-Kairos get denied pretty quickly due to the position from Yeti. Rexen will, in fact, pick up a kill. Not from the spot we were just watching, though. He's going to be over here in blue, being able to take down NJR as he tries to push his way down through Oil Pit. So pretty easy denial there for Rexen. Puts eUnited on the board and in good straights. You'll note, of course, that Disrupt are trying to put the pressure on a lot earlier this time, but as of yet, it hasn't really worked out to get them in. That's going to continue to be the case now as Retro gets dropped, trying to get access himself. Yeti ready for the duel against the Hibana, and he's going to be able to win things out there as Retro and Reed both end up going down. Shuttle does turn this around a little bit with 2 kills on his own. Also opens up a plant opportunity, and on top of that, we still have J9 up top, but he's failed to support his teammate in the plant, didn't have the angle he needed to counteract that frag, and now with only 5 seconds remaining, he really does not have a hope of winning this. He'll get instantly destroyed when he tries to go down that hatch, and eUnited will net themselves round number 10, tying us up once again at 5-5.
Oh man, I want to talk about the defensive setup for like 10 years. That is just the crossfires that they have, the shield placements, everything that eUnited's doing there. So well done by them. I mean, big shout out to Meepy. That's when those coaches come in and just make magic happen. That was definitely one I have not seen before. So it's really nice to see that, especially in a match that means so much. I mean, once again, I know that this clubhouse has been going on for a while, folks, but if you have not tuned in earlier on into the broadcast, this is for major qualifiers. Whoever loses this, you get nothing. You go to 7th place, you sit there, you watch your friends play the video game instead of you. It's not fun. You have an older sibling, you know when they took that controller from you, you know, on the Wii, you're trying to play Mario Kart and they just didn't want you to do it? Well, that's basically this. Everybody wants to go to the major. That's the best part about being in Siege. So whichever one of these squads ends up winning at the end of the day will go into that qualifier, which, I mean, right now, it's neck and neck.
Quite literally, in fact, on our round count here, eUnited's going to look to try and take control yet again if they can get themselves up onto map point with a second victory on Cash and CCTV. The dangerous thing to know is that it'll only get them up to map point, and they didn't have the best amount of success over on the 3rd site that they would have to defend after this. And that's, of course, where Disrupt could still come in and trigger OT if that indeed ends up being replayed the same exact way. So this is still a very, very close match, even with the round results being kind of expected over the last few here. United still has to watch out, especially if they lose grasp of the plot on a round like this.
Yeah, absolutely. We are moving into CCTV here, though, so I think this is going to be a strong showing from eUnited just because of the utility that they're bringing to the table. I don't think that Grixer is going to find any success at trying to bandit trick the wall. We'll have to see how that goes. Initially, right off rip, not even 20 seconds in, we already have our initial hard destruction usage, but it's not the thermite. It's going to be Reed with that initial Selma charge on the garage panels inside of garage. So that's actually going to be really, really strong here. Yeti not being able to deny that is going to mean that when Disrupt eventually go for control of garage, which this is seeming like it will be, it's going to be a lot easier for them to try and handle the catwalk player. There's not going to be as many areas where he can rotate back or get assistance from somebody inside of sight.
He's been able to open 2 of those panels now as well. Definitely good initiation rights for the attackers to try and get their way in there. Work still needs to be done to open up the primary wall, of course, over here, and they are going to be able to take out the initial reinforcements coming in from the bandit. But there is also a Kaid in play from Yeti, and he has the electric claw somewhere else where it cannot be impacted by the utility. Let's see, can we see it from here? I don't see it, so
I don't see it either.
I feel like I'm blind, but but it's there somewhere, folks. He's hit it pretty well.
Get your
I don't know if you
glasses.
saw it at home, but we didn't. But it's there somewhere. And it's being hidden somewhere where the Kali utility can't get access to it. So this is a real problem now for Disrupt.
I'm pretty sure this guy works for Pablo Escobar. I can't find any of this stuff. This is crazy. I don't really know. So, Disrupt now working on that wall. Grixer does have a nitro cell in hand, so this could actually bag him quite a few kills as he's able to land this correctly. Don't know exactly when that's going to happen, though. Disrupt's still just taking their time trying to clear out a lot of this utility, and you can't blame them. We can still see some of my discs placed around the site, and actually, this has worked out really well for eUnited so far. We have 2 minutes off the board. The only thing that Disrupt has anything in, once again, garage. That's it.
Rexen with a good start as well. Going going to be able to take down Retro after he tries to get some initial control close to Garage. Tries to take a second duel, but J9 is ready for that, even with the headshot as well on the CSRX. Going to be able to take him out. That's Garage access maintained, and it's going to get pushed even further here as well with Reed's next kill against Yeti, who tries to come in for the trade. J9, remember, still has the angle up here as well, and he still has that sniper, which is nearly an instant down on most shots, so you got to be very careful about how you try to peek against that player if he's ready to take the shot. The good news, though, is that Alfama still has all 3 of his smoke charges, so he can delay this push, at least from the catwalk, indefinitely due to how low on the timer we already are. Oh, no, that one's going to get lost, though, but a good follow-up shot from Alfama makes up the difference. He'll take down Reed, bringing this down to a 3v3. Shuttle puts the advantage back in the hands of Disrupt, but now can they get the plant? They're trying to swing into sight. More kills found by them, and NJR finds the final 2, stealing the round out of the hands of eUnited and taking it for Disrupt instead, as now they'll get up to that point first.
That one was not supposed to happen. I can tell you that one for a fact. eUnited not concerned about anyone coming from construction. Amazing move there from NJR. And more than likely, great game planning there from Disrupt inside of the mid game. Just change things up, try and throw something at them that they weren't exactly ready for. Especially with the CCTV wall being closed. They're not supposed to be able to do that at all. I mean, the defenders have so many positions that they can play. It's very hard to try and flood that site, especially with players around that, the top of red area where they have access to the nitro cells, as well as some really, really good crossfires with their other members inside of sight. So the fact that Disrupt got away with that strictly off of garage control and rotating a player, nicely done by them.
Going to be kind of an expected repeat on the site coming in from United right after them due to how close it was. Definitely not expecting the overall route that Disrupt took, but they'll probably take steps to immediately rectify that. Would not be surprised if we end up seeing some of Yeti's electric claws going onto the garage panel right off the bat here, or indeed him playing close to it to be able to deny that. We'll see if there's going to be any change-ups in that department. In fact, it looks like it's going to be mute jammers that go down directly next to it instead, at least on the left one. Right one, is it going to get one as well? It's definitely prepping himself for one. Yep, indeed, both mute jammers going down on that wall to prevent the unfortunate turn of events that started at the beginning of the last round there.
You gotta line it up with the motorcycle, John, otherwise he can shoot it from the door. Come on, man. He's checking his stuff.
I'm not that into it where I have that part planned out yet.
You're gonna tell me that you've never had to play that position and get randomly wall banged through the stock door? It's not fun, I'll be honest. Like, first-hand experience, not a fun position. It kind of sucks, honestly. Like, there's a lot of things that can go sideways. So, can't blame you for that one. But this is desperately needed for eUnited because Garage controls how Disrupt got away with that the last time. So, they're going to double down on that, put some mute jammers down there, still have Yeti exist down there as well to assist Rexen. And I think that this is going to be a nice setup here. I think it's going to be able to assist them by keeping that alive a little, or keeping Rexen alive a little bit longer, because obviously he can have a really good round and turn this all around for eUnited. But the problem is now, though, Disrupt, same game plan, and they're still allowed to get the wall open. Some good utility usage through the drone hole to get rid of the mute jammer, then immediately slap that Selma on, put it to good use, break down the wall, and Garage all of a sudden has a big old hole in it.
Yeti did try to use a nitro cell, I think, to stop that from happening as well, but it didn't stop it as far as I could tell. So that nitro cell is going to go by the wayside. That's one of the 3 of them now unavailable for the actual gunfight later on in the round here. Shuttle on, he's not alone either. He's got NJR and one other player stacked up right now against the CCTV window, trying to look to see if they can take out the player actively manning the walls, whether that be Grixer or the other player that's also in here with him trying to play to that similar angle. Either way, half the round gone by. Grixer's going to go crazy with the nitro cell. That's number 2 out of 3 that they had in their arsenal here. That one's not going to do much damage either here, so they got to be very careful with their choice in the third one, because now the walls are starting to crumble in on them a little bit here, as the wall does get successfully opened this time by Disrupt.
Well, luckily enough, Rexen still has the default camera inside of Garage, so he'll be able to assist himself with that. But the problem is now, though, Yeti only going to be able to play around the garage stairs, so no assistance for the main door here. Yeti's going to move back. Disrupt rounding the building now as they're coming in the bottom of Garage. This is going to be up to Rexen and Yeti to try and shut this down, but Alfama gets up a kill across the map. Yeti not able to pick up one, but it's Alfama to follow through. Rexen gets shut down by Shuttle, but eUnited still have to worry about a Disrupt body in the side of Garage. Disrupt, though, seemingly, or excuse me, actually eUnited rotating all the way across as two DG members fight their way up garage stairs.
They want to try and avoid this fight and keep it to long range from the looks of things, or at least keep a direct confrontation open. Retro's going to try to put a wrinkle in that plan, though, by opening up the second wall at garage and giving them direct access to a plantable position. There's no nitro cells remaining for the defenders anymore either, so they can't immediately stop this. They're going to have to swing if indeed Retro is able to get into that position and go for the plant, which is no reason why I shouldn't be able to do that at this point. The members of eUnited, they're going to have to swing out and get aggressive. Grixer takes his mount on top of the table there and ends up going down as a result of it. Retro gets himself a double. He's now got access for the plant. Like I said, there's no nitros. Alfama's going to swing in, though. He denies the plant by rotating through the windows. Where is Reed right now? There he is. He shuts it down and takes the map with it, as Disrupt is going to be able to close it down on number 12, 7-5 as the final score.
Oh no. Alfama gets killed by the rotate hole, not allowing him through. They didn't make it properly for that side, so ends up getting caught on piece of the wall and not allowed to rotate through. A valiant effort, though, as he hopped out that construction window, fought right into CCTV and took that thermite down. Really thought he had it for a second. I thought we were going to overtime, but it was just not in the works. Disrupt once again, 7-5 EU on Clubhouse, the exact same scoreline we saw the last time around from these two.
And coming up around the corner here, folks, is going to be our second map. It's the pick from Disrupt as well, so eUnited are in trouble right now. We're going to see if they can bounce back right after this, folks, as we'll go to a short break. When we come back, our analyst desk will be breaking down map number 1 and getting us ready for map number 2. More North American action coming up right around the corner, so stick with us, folks.
Welcome back. Map 1 Clubhouse going to Disrupt Gaming, defeating eUnited 7-5. That was a back and forth battle. Both of these teams fighting tooth and nail, hungry for that last NA qualifier spot. eUnited put up a fight, but Disrupt was able to seal the deal, gentlemen. So we're going through our replays right now. Talk to me, Veli and Jesse.
Hey, I was laughing at Grixer's drop shot. He pulled a Batman once again. I think it was on this map last time he did it, though. But eUnited, I was pretty disappointed earlier on, Jesse. Especially with the fact that, you know, we saw weird aggression coming in at all times, but then they were pretty passive. I'm pretty sure you're going to talk about that later on. But ultimately, you were asked a question earlier. Can Disrupt Gaming win if NJR doesn't go off? And I'm telling you now, man, Shuttle and NJR, they're becoming the duel of this roster, maybe.
Yeah, Shuttle's one of the most improved players, I'd say, of the NAL. You could probably argue he deserves that award. I think that this matchup, I was a little bit worried at the start that United were going to kind of roll over and die after 3 rounds, but they did, you know, pick it up in that second half. It wasn't enough for the win, obviously. This was a fantastic round 12 where we saw that clutch up from Reed in the 1v1, denying the 4K from Alfama. A really fun match in the end.
Yeah, and our stats are up on the screen right now. And Belly, you were just talking about Shuttle, top of the leaderboard here with kills. Yeah, that was really a fun one to watch. And again, Disrupt just edging out eUnited. I do want to talk about Disrupt a little bit with you, Belly, and their usage of Kali. Kali, we were debating about this earlier. Jesse says Kali and Stokes says Kali, and Philly, you and I say Kali. I'd love to hear what chat thinks.
I'm gonna call her
to
the
pronounce
Sniper
it.
Girl.
Okay, Sniper Girl, what up? But you did like the pick of Sniper Girl, but
Yes.
round 10, you felt like the positioning was just off.
So, yeah, you know what? When you have Maverick and Thatcher banned especially, you're going to have to bring Cali, right, if you want to. And they did that. And they put Cali to great use. Don't get me wrong. I love the headshot he got in Raptors. I believe it was on Rexon. And J9, he did everything he had to do. There was one round that wasn't questioned. It was when he was covering his teammate that was planting an armory. And he stayed above the hatch looking down. There's only so much you can see. with the sniper rifle out. Listen, she got a nice buff. That SMG she has is nice. Maybe drop down and help out your teammate. But there's one thing I'm going to point everybody's attention to. Jesse and I was talking about this. This was a play that Alfama was making in regards to countering whatever the Lance does from Cali. So, production, if you could put me on the one just for a second, I want to bring up a snapshot. This is going to be pretty significant to me because if this is a thing, it's going to be a big deal. Now, let's take a look at what Alfama's doing. Now, what happens is above the screen, you know, look here, pay attention. Up here, you had Ace and you also had Sniper Girl, Cali, right? So one lance went off and got rid of one of the mute jammers that was placed down by Yeti. But Alfama stayed in this particular spot right here, which was really weird to me. I didn't know what he was planning. So when Ace came along, what happened was Alfama, he threw an electric claw on this wall right here. And I was asking Jesse, I said, okay, I don't know if I'm stupid or if this is something I've never thought about yet. Did Alfama possibly show us an area to stick an electric claw that will not be affected by Cali's lance radius? Either that or as far away for the radius to not hit unless he hits a sweet spot with that lance. So this is something that I want to look at later on. Maybe somebody in the chat can educate me on this, but I thought this was a really cool look. So I like the variety and strats that we saw with Cali and also how Disrupt Gaming used her. I hope we see a lot more of her in the future because I feel like she hasn't been used to her full potential yet.
Wow, that was cool. Belly, we always love your telestrations.
It was
Jesse,
alright.
your turn. No, I'm just kidding. There was no confetti this time, so you get a B-. Just kidding. That was actually still really
passing,
cool.
okay?
Yes, you passed. But Jesse, no telestration here, but I do want to talk to you about eUnited's attack.
Yeah.
You literally just were like, I wanted them to do something. You wanted them to be more aggressive. You felt like they were stalling on their attacks.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, stalling is exactly what it was. It feels like to me, eUnited picked Clubhouse, knowing that it's a map that Disrupt plays a lot, knowing it's a map that they play a lot, hoping to go back on some of those VODs and kind of nail down exactly what DG's going to do and come in with a plan. But it felt like DG kind of switched things up. Disrupt were ready to bring out some new things on Clubhouse that I don't think they've shown before. For an example, their CCTV hold, opening up the construction wall, having their smoke play downstairs on bottom garage rather than up in rafters. There were just some neat things that were being brought by Disrupt that I think really threw off eUnited on their attacks. And EU were just so slow going at it, right? And it was really disappointing in my mind to see. They did bounce back and, they got 2 rounds attacking. That's not bad for Clubhouse. But still, I was really kind of disappointed by that. And, losing your own map pick like that, I think Disrupt are in a really good spot to win this out for the whole series, which is bad news for EU.
All right. Well, definitely excited to get map 2 started, but really quickly, our community poll result is in. And gentlemen, the question was tied for most clutches in stage 2 with 6. Who will have the most by the end of this matchup? Grixer or Shuttle? And let's see what our result was and pull it up. What are you guys thinking?
I think Shuttle's got 1 clutch and then
70%.
Wow.
70% went with Grixer. 30% went with Shuttle, but we'll have to see by the end of the series. But both of these players are just absolutely ridiculous. Really quickly, predictions for map 2. How are we feeling? Belly.
I'm happy eUnited fought back to make that a respectable map. But if Disrupt Gaming slows down that EU attack once more, I don't see eUnited. But still, I'm holding on strong. I'm not going to flip-flop. eUnited, hopefully they bring this to map 3.
Jesse, you think eUnited's going to wake up on attack? You think they're going to get aggressive, or what's up?
I mean, I hope so. I hope we can get to Villa, but Oregon's a really strong map for Disrupt Gaming. United fans should be pretty worried going into this one. They're going to need some real improvements walking into Oregon.
Super defensive map.
Yeah, well, we shall see. I believe both of our teams are almost ready to go, so let's hand it over to our casters, Blue and Stokes. Take it away, gentlemen.
Stokes, let me know if that electric claw works. You might know that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jackie. And we'll be taking it away from here. About to get ready into the match. I don't know, I'll just throw it to you, Stokes. Do you know about that electric claw, or?
I'm going to be really honest, dude. I went to go use the bathroom and stand up for a bit.
So.
And I got back and all I heard was the tail end of Electroclaw. That was it.
Okay,
so
that's fine.
We'll confirm it later. Somebody on Twitter will probably message him. But if just say yes or no, Valley. Was it the one that you were talking about inside of Moto?
No, he was talking about the one over by like construction on the second floor.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I don't really
That's
know
all
which
good.
one
That's
that
all
one
good.
was.
You know what?
So
You
anyways,
can...
yeah, there were so many electric claws. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
You can look that up on though. You can look that up on a beautiful Acer Predator. Hold on, I'm trying to swing it out here. There we go.
This one?
Acer. Oh, look, like that one, or the one I have as well. The Acer Predator Helios 700. This thing is literally a powerhouse of performance. It's got itself an i9. It's got a 2080, a desktop grade 2080 inside of it. And somehow it manages better cooling than my actual computer does. So that's got all that on top of it too. And look, the keyboard pops out. So it does. Oh man, it just hit my mic. So that's a little awkward, but it does that too.
I think that's what the 700 stands for, right?
I guess so, yeah. What about yours, Stokes? What are you rocking with there?
I got the Triton 500. This isn't as fancy as yours, but it doesn't have a sliding keyboard, which is a little bit of a bummer, but still got a lot of power. RTX 2080 Ti in this thing, as well as an i8, I do believe. The thing's a monster. I've been using it for a lot of prep work, as well as just playing on and end games. I've really been enjoying it for a lot of like single player games, John. Like honestly, I've been playing Splinter Cell from bed recently because I never played the series before. So it's been really, really fun. I've been really enjoying it.
And you caught up. We got to work on your movie list as well, but that's
oh, don't get them started on that. Like, listen, we just got past the whole casting thing. I don't need to have them find something else, man. Like the movie list, guys. Just talk to me on stream sometime. Yeah, you guys aren't gonna like me.
Just at Stokes on Twitter. Ask if he's seen a good movie. Odds are the answer is no. So we'll just see how many he wants to respond to. Either way, it's time for the map now, folks. And like we said, there's a lot on the line for this one. The winner is going through to the major qualifier. The loser, they're getting 7th place, and that's about it, along with the points, of course, that come with that, the SI points. But we're going on to Oregon, and this is a little dangerous for eUnited. We just saw Disrupt play this back on Monday against the Sonics. They looked pretty convincing, to be completely honest, especially their attacking rounds looked very, very strong. So eUnited's got their work cut out for them, in my opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, eUnited's record on this map, 1-4. It's one of their most played maps, but they're not very good at it. So it's kind of weird that they would allow it into the map pool. But I will say this, what we saw in Clubhouse from their defensive side was really, really good. So I feel like Meepies really had a hand in bringing this into the lineup and allowing it through, you know, especially up against Disrupt. They don't have a cause for huge concern. I mean, Disrupt's 1-0 on it in recent history, so not that big of a deal. Don't sound the sirens just yet, but eUnited having a rough record. They definitely have needed to go back to the drawing board on this map, get some new things implemented. Let's see how it goes. The bans are in now, though. Capital, Maverick, Wamai, and Mira off the board there. So some really, really impactful ones. Big one, though, to notate, Maestro's on the board.
Yeah, Maestro on the board, which has been a very rare thing as of late. You might be surprised to hear that, but with Echo being perma-banned out due to technical reasons, Maestro has been the go-to ban for a lot of teams, and at least for me personally, it's been probably a good week or two since he hasn't been banned out. So we'll have to see how eUnited's going to try and use him, as they're going to get access to him first, and there'll be no delay on that. He's immediately locked in here by the eUnited rosters. They're going to be going into a basement first.
Well, you got to lock in the chain gun and the bubble master himself, man. I mean, this guy's got so many titles. It's crazy, you know? So, I mean, with Maestro added to the lineup, it's going to assist in some ways. Like, the site presence is going to be just a touch different. I would say it's going to be a little bit better, in my personal opinion, just because I feel like Maestro brings so much to the team, not only with now having impacts, but having those 2 evil eyes and an amazing gun. So, we talk about him all the time, though, so let's get into some other things that are going to be a little bit more fun here. Disrupt side of the coin. They're going to be bringing out the Habana. So since we didn't really see any defender bans or offensive bans that really are going to hinder wall breach or wall denial or anything like that, we're going to have the Thatcher on the board, which is going to make things move a lot quicker. I think that this, you know, for being Oregon, is actually going to be a little more equal in terms of who's going to win a round than we've seen in recent history.
So, taking a look at Disrupt's attacks, we got them spawned out. Reed's a little detached from the team, so don't mind that too much, but he'll be grouping up with them in just a moment here. We are going to see that early drone presence go into the usual positions on the map. A pretty quick entry coming in here as well, I believe, from NJR to take second floor control. That might be Retro, excuse me. Got the Hibana and the Ash confused, my bad. But either way, they're going to take tower control right off the bat here. No resistance on that from eUnited, and this will extend to a large majority of the first floor here. Once again, not much of a big roam game coming out for the eUnited roster, really at all. Once again, playing very heavily into the turtle setups on the basement, as we saw back on Clubhouse as well. So they're going to have to get past this very, very tough setup. The good news is that they've already got a hatch open for themselves to work past, and they've already proven in their match versus the Sonics that they can work their way past these very hard locked-in positions of the tunnel as well. 3 shields? That's going to be asking a lot to get past here. The only good news is that 2 of them are Goyo shields, so they're going to be potentially a little bit easier to disrupt once they actually get rid of the ADSs that are also sitting on the doorway here.
Yeah, I think that we just need to call this the triangle choke, because, I mean, you got 3 shields here with ADSs set up, and Grixer being very aggressive with this Vector, uses his Nitro so early to try and get some nice picks. Disrupt, at a loss for words and what's going on right now, and you can't exactly blame them. We don't see very many teams play so aggressively up into the construction area. Disrupt is going to have to go back and try something else unless he can get rid of these shields. Good start here, though. Already burned through the ADSs, got rid of one of the Goyo shields, but still have a lot to go through. I mean, there's 3 shields, once again, inside of this area.
2 of them now gone, though, as one of the main doors is also going to get exploded here. You still have Alfama's actual shield in position, though, but Alfama has decided to get a little bit more aggressive, and he's not alone in doing this. Grixer also commits to a swing as well, and he's going to be able to find the frag onto Retro as a direct result of that. But I'll fall back a little bit, as they are expecting the trade to come in from the hatch, or at least they're expecting some aggression to work its way in from the hatch. Disrupt is very patiently waiting for eUnited to make the next move here, as NJR knows there's a player locked in the corner. They're hoping that that player is going to change positions sooner rather than later, but there's not really a reason that Alfama would need to do that due to the shield that's still in position there that the members of Disrupt may not even know is here yet. So a lot to work against. You'll note, of course, that everybody that was trying to push in through tunnels kind of abandoned ship, and it's pretty much just NJR working for that entry now, as the rest of the team is trying to funnel their way in elsewhere, but they're not having much luck. Kansan has shut down Shuttle on the first attempt to make a push. NJR is now committing himself to the inside of the construction push here. As he started to move forward, he's at least forced Grixer to swing a little bit closer to sight, but you still have Alfama, which I really talked to death at this point. Rexon denies the next attempt to work their way down through the hatches of the back stairs. Kansan takes out Reed, and now it's just NJR alive here with only 4 seconds left. Not much that he can do. It's a solid defense put up by United, and they're going to get the first round.
Extremely solid, and this is what we were talking about right at the beginning of this round. We needed to see United go back to the drawing board, present some new things that are going to throw Disrupt off. You can't just take Disrupt to this map when your record on this map is 1-4 and have everyone expect you to do extremely well. So now we're seeing why they opened up this map, you know, and allowed it through up against Disrupt. I mean, Disrupt, again, not having a crazy record on it or anything, so might be a nice pickup here for eUnited. Once again, great defensive setup, really like what they had to offer. Shut Disrupt down on all fronts. I liked how Disrupt tried to eventually rotate, but it was too little too late. They already dedicated so much utility to clearing out construction that they didn't have any utility for anything else. I mean, you're talking 4 stun grenades, 2 breaching rounds, and there's still a shield there. So, I mean, your utility is now starved, and you can't do anything. You just have to try and take gunfights or force your way onto site, and every single avenue that they went to for that, eUnited was already standing in the way. So, shifting gears now into the second round, eUnited heads immediately upstairs. We'll see how this one fares. We're still going to keep Kansan on the Maestro, which, again, it seemed to have the influence that we wanted from this operator, John. I mean, he's 2-0 right now. We'll have to visit back on it once we got a little bit bigger sample size.
Yeah, I didn't get to see too much from his POV either, but definitely did a good job of fending off that hatch and backstairs presence that was coming in there in the later round from Disrupt. That was their attempt to kind of shift things up and counteract the pressure from eUnited that was working its way out the tunnel, obviously to a very limited degree of success there, as it was still shut down pretty quickly due to the massive players on that side of the map. If we saw Disrupt put pressure on maybe like Freezer or even Laundry, there could have been better hope, but we didn't get a good look as to what the setup necessarily looked like over there, so could have been ways for eUnited that they had baked into their strategy to try and stop those pushes as well. Disrupt probably just needing to expand their horizons a little bit more when they get a chance to attack that for the second time in 2 or 3 rounds here.
Yeah, I would assume so as well. I mean, that utility is obviously rotatable. Like, you can have the Goyo pick up the shields, shift them across, but I don't think you're going to be going through that full thing there. So it'd probably be, you know, Smoke grabbing his shield, somebody else grabbing their shield, move across to try and handle that freezer take. But it'd definitely be the soft side inside of that setup for them. So very surprised that Disrupt didn't try and shift gears once they saw what was going on inside of construction, and instead just went, you know, bold-faced right into it. Early read here from Disrupt, and of course it's Reed. Okay, so Reed inside of Freezer. He'll be having the cutoff downstairs for anyone trying to jump down this hatch. This is a really nice pickup from Disrupt early on.
The big problem is going to be forcing the player down the actual hatch here, as they know that they've got one above that, but They shouldn't be too far away from this potential force either. You can already see J90 with small tower control, and he's not alone either. NJR is also out in the yellow hall, and there you go. Hook, line, and sinker right there. Yeti gets backed up into the hatch, and it's a nice, easy kill for the members of Disrupt to start themselves off with and bring this down to a 5v4. Also puts a big dent in the roam presence, obviously. The Valkyrie's still out and about. That's Grixer currently playing her, but he'll have to make a judgment call sooner rather than later here, whether he's going to stick around outside of the site or try to fall back and play with his teammates deeper in.
Well, we already got the first one. Rhodey stepped up to the plate and asked me if I watched Whiplash. No, I've never seen Whiplash. I don't even know what that is.
It's my favorite movie. I'm offended.
Oh, I'm sorry. so sorry. So Disrupt and eUnited so far in round 2. Nice pickup onto Yeti. So that was pretty expected from what we saw early on. Disrupt now with some hard destruction onto the walls. United still holding tight inside of sight. Not too much action going on just yet. Disrupt got good map control, but they still have to worry about Grixer, who's rotating through downstairs. Grixer, actually, if he would have chose a separate avenue here and went up the freezer stairs instead of main, probably would have ended up getting a kill onto Reed, but could still have some really, really big effectiveness. Grixer does indeed have a nitro cell, so he can stop default plant here if they go for a games plant.
Kansan really rapidly trying to swing his angles here. As you can see, he's now responsible for 3 to 4 different positions. He's got to watch stairs. He's got to watch the push into games. He's got to watch the big window push. He's got to rotate the stairs, get one of the first trades that his team has been able to get so far in this round. But he's not alone in this. Alfama is also a factor too, but they have to be very, very careful. As I've already mentioned with Kansan, there's just so much to watch now. Disrupt is going to run into a momentary pause after that kill from Kansan is picked up, and he's going to be able to successfully down Retro as well here. Looking for more by the big window as that push is being delayed, but finally NJR has success getting himself up the stairs just as Alfama is able to deny it, though. He takes him down in a quick trade. Plant's going down. Will Alfama be able to stop it? Not looking. Oh no! Alfama had him dead to rights right there, but is not going to be able to get the confirmation, so the diffuser goes down, and now he's left alone here. Recovers a bit as he takes down J90. Remember, Retro's pretty much dead to rights right now, so Shuttle's just going to run away from this one. A wild run out from Alfama to try and find Shuttle, but it's unsuccessful as he gets the kill and Disrupt take the round.
Oh, that could be the round that bites him later on right there. I really, really thought that Alfama had that, especially when he made the rotate into games. They didn't have any vision on him or any intel either, so it was going to be really easy for him to eventually get that kill once he peeked white. Just didn't line up the shot properly. That's really it. I mean, the SMG-11 is a wild gun. It sometimes chooses some really weird spray patterns, especially with flash hider on. But I mean, those are shots that you gotta hit. I mean, I'm sorry, Alfama, but we gotta put the credit where credit is due, man. And you really needed to hit that shot. That's just very unfortunate there, but that's only the beginning of Oregon so far. Still, obviously, plenty of rounds here, and I mean, if they split 5-1 on defense, that's not that big of a deal.
A very obvious mistake that I'm sure he's very well aware of, so not much else to discuss in that department. He'll, of course, try to recover from that in later rounds. See if he can make up the difference there, but either way, there's going to be an immediate repeat on this site from eUnited. I think you folks can understand why. They did pretty much have that under control, even though it was down to a 2v4. It was looking good for them to be able to deny it up until, of course, that very unfortunate turn of events from Alfama's POV, which allowed it to go into a post-plant position, and even then still made a very valiant attempt to clutch it out. Gonna see if they can make a repeat of that, obviously minus that little mistake at the end of the round once again, so that hopefully they can lock it down and take a second round for themselves. If not, Disrupt is looking good here, especially if their early round play to take the advantage themselves.
And let's see how Disrupt wants to attack here, because we've seen a lot of interesting things happen on kids recently, so...
And folks, you know what you can also check out in the store right now? Some of our great new skins that we have available. The Rainbow Six Share skins, or of course, our NAL Smoke set, which you can find in the Rainbow Six store right now. It's got a little charm there. You can see it shaking on the screen. Go ahead and check those out, folks, if you're interested in purchasing. They support the Rainbow Six scene, including the teams, the game, and a whole lot more. So go ahead and check out those skin sets now in the store.
I wasn't going to buy it until you told me it shakes, but now, oh man, I throw the wallet down on that
I mean,
one.
the graphic makes it shake. I don't know how much it shakes in game.
Even better. All right, well, eUnited Disrupt, we're into round 3 now, folks. eUnited with a really, really nice setup here. They're trying to slow down Disrupt's entry into the kitchen area, and this is a really, really good idea. We saw them dedicate some Valkyrie cameras into the cafe area, as well as having Grixer, Yeti, and Rexen all down here. So they know that Disrupt wants to go for this white plant once again, or the double window plant. So they've already planned for it. They've already prepped. They've rotated everything. So this is going to be a completely different look here for eUnited as they try and slow slow that down. We're probably not going to see Yeti or any of the United members favor Freezer unless they have earlier intel, simply because of what we saw happen the last time. So as for Disrupt, though, making decent progress. It seems as though they want to still go for a very similar attack. They're quite spread right now, so I'd say that they're still in the early beginnings here on what intel they want to gather, as well as gathering some frags, as once again, Yeti is the entry kill.
Good start yet again, as unfortunately Yeti has gone 0 for 2 on these previous 2 rounds of getting trapped out by the members of Disrupt. They've done a fantastic job of hunting him down here and taking him out 2 consecutive rounds in a row. Now, again, with that early advantage, a lot to be gained, of course. They still need to work their way into the site, and this is where things almost went badly for them previously. Reed's going to be able to swiftly move in. They've got a good master and connector control along with it, on top of taking out one of the Evil Eyes. Alfama is going to get absolutely destroyed here as well, just barely able to save his own life from the looks of things. He's got 1 HP left. A little bit of damage goes on to Reed here from a Nitro Cell as well, but he's able to survive the large majority of that and get out of it with about 50 HP still. Rexon taking some heat as well here, man. Utility is doing damage across the board. We've seen 2 players nearly get destroyed by grenades in the last few moments here, as now Rexon and Alfama are both one-shottable.
Yeah, with only 30 seconds left on the clock, both of these squads looking for these big kills that could change anything. Alfama down to that 1 shot, like you said. He's also out of smoke grenades, so it's going to be to the firepower and some lead spray to try and stop any plant attempts here from Disrupt. They're still outside the double window, ready for this, but concussions pour in. They now know that Kansan's here. They hop in the window, but the Alda is absolutely frying. The cook's in the kitchen, but shut down quite early. Shuttle working into dorms now to plant in a very awkward position so that Nitro Cells can't try and get him. Grixer now to the top of white, but they don't know exactly where this is happening. Could still counter this, but doesn't have a chance to. Now down into the post plant here in a 2v3 situation, but quickly made into a 1v3 for Rexon. Very low HP and hasn't had the best day in comparison to what we've seen him do in the past, but still has 30 seconds on the clock to try and make this happen. Especially with Reed on low HP, Rexon does indeed have a chance here, but somebody flanking up from behind him right now, more than likely not going to be able to win it out, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Reed quickly dispatches Rexon, and Disrupt grabs another offensive round.
Steals the ace from Shuttle, unfortunately. A very good round from him as well, as he does a lot of the heavy lifting, especially the entry work when it comes to trying to get in through a big window there. It does cost him a teammate in the process, but after he gets in, see the flurry of kills that follows that here from a quick little replay that we'll take a look at. He's able to chain 4 together overall before the round concludes. eUnited now with 2 unsuccessful rounds upstairs. Those 2 rounds do unlock the basement for play once again, so they'll be able to return to the only other site where they've been successful so far.
Really liking what I'm seeing from Disrupt so far. I mean, their offensive unit, granted that first round not really working out for them, and they really weren't up to adapt to that. These last 2 rounds have worked really well for them, especially that last round. Really good adaptation once they got into sight to plant it somewhere else as opposed to where they planted it previously. They knew that those eUnited members downstairs could probably end up killing them, so some really, really smart stuff here from Disrupt so far. But if they're able to push this any farther here, we're starting to get into really desperate territory here for eUnited, because just to remind you guys once again about these stats, eUnited's offense this season, 38.5% win rate. Their defense, 57.4. So eUnited's on their favorable side right now. If they don't get more rounds than, I mean, what we're usually used to seeing on a map like this, I mean, 4-2 split, 5-1, something along those lines, this could be a really, really big problem, and that could mean eUnited out of major quals.
Other problem that we've already talked about before as well is the overall map record here for eUnited on this map. They've played it 4 times in recent history, only able to win it once out of those 4 times, though, against the Sonics, whereas they've lost it 3 times to Dark Zero and Tempo Storm twice.
Oh, okay, fantastic. All right, somebody actually graciously tweeted me those electro claws that Veli was talking about. So yeah, Veli, those do indeed work, by the way. But Grixer's going to get taken out really early on here. I will be honest, I was looking away, obviously. So exactly how did that end up happening?
It was Shuttle that got it, so I assume Shuttle was outside of the tunnel and he just caught Grixer on a swing that happened early on, looking at the dead body's position. It's kind of my crime scene investigation there, real quick.
I feel like I'm watching CSI.
Well, that's what that stands for. So I hope so.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's the thing. Yeti almost does it twice. NGR takes him down. J9 also going to follow it up. This is a lot faster round than what we're used to seeing here. Stun grenades pouring in as well as smokes. Reed's already going for a plant. We got everything in a hell in a handbasket going on right now. 2v3 in favor of the offense. It's a plant goes down for Reed. They still have the crossfires on the back end as well, though, as Shuttle's making it work. It's all down to Alfama inside of Laundry. Smoke grenade hasn't even dissipated yet, folks. There's so much going on here, but with very minimal time as well as the Selma going off, Alfama has nothing to try and work with this. Reed takes him out inside of the smoke. The guy doesn't have eyes, ears, and now he doesn't even have a conscience. So Disrupt walk away with yet another round, just bullying EU at this point.
I mean, what do we say back on round one? Right, we needed a little bit more pressure to work its way in from Laundry and Freezer. I just
need more cowbell.
I didn't get.
That's all I need.
Yeah, I didn't get to see the full burst of it from Disrupt because it all happened so quickly. But it did look like we saw a lot more pressure a lot more quickly from those two avenues, and it works like magic. Unfortunately, as eUnited is a little bit overcommitted to that other side of the map, where, to be fair, most teams have been executing just like Disrupt did in the first round, but this time it's a far cry from that. And on top of the first kill they're able to get against the tunnel setup, it just makes it all that much easier for them to flood in, get the site control, and of course the third round that comes with it. Disrupt dominating right now on the attacking side.
Oh, extremely dominant. We've had 3 plants in a row right now. That's something that you don't see every single day, but that does actually throw us back to the previous matchup between these two that we saw about 2 weeks ago. Inside of that series alone, John, DG had 7 plants and eUnited had 11 in one series. That, you don't see that. Like that. That is, listen, your hard breach just got to be really happy because, you know, every single one of those plants accounts for like 25 kills.
Yay, I get to contribute this round.
Dude, my cost is looking great.
I mean, to be fair though, with Ace being like the new mainstay, like I think hard breaches are a little bit more fraggy nowadays anyway. So
I would play hard support. I want that AK-12.
Yeah,
that thing looks fun.
They can kind of take a fragging role at least a lot more confidently now because they're not working with like the 5.56. I mean, Tabata's gun's pretty good too. So.
Yeah, the only thing is like that low mag capacity that gets you into trouble. We've seen a lot of people make really good use of Habana as well, most notably Shaiko. I mean, he's really the one that influenced a lot of people to be more aggressive on her with his angled grip hollow play. And we've seen that kind of be echoed by a lot of other, teams. But now that we have Ace in, it's a whole different ballgame. That AK-12 is so dangerous. It's got a really, really good rate of fire, which if you guys are new to Rainbow Six Siege and you don't know too much about the weaponry, that's the thing that we care about the most. Rate of fire is king in this game. You will win a lot more gunfights strictly based off of that with like decent damage as opposed to really high damage and low rate of fire. Perfect instance, IQ. That's why people use the G8 over the 5.52 Commando.
All right, it's a really quick small tower push coming in now from Disrupt. eUnited hear the noise. They know exactly what's happening, and you can see the immediate utility switch. Quick reinforcement goes onto one of the closet walls. They pepper a little shot line across the other one, and they also move one of their deployable shields over there too. So they're going to be much more prepared for the eventual execute from the Laundry and Freezer side this time. That Disrupt, they're still mounting up for it. We got 2 players on Freezer stairs trying to work their way in. Yeti tries to throw out a Nitro, but it looks like it either got shot or disabled in some way when it was thrown out. So that one's not going to explode. Disrupt kind of waiting to see if NGR can line up a kill more than likely right now. He's got a good angle onto the players that would go through the normal Laundry rotate, but obviously getting one of them is a bit of a roll of the dice. They have also got to be very careful just pushing out because of this angle from Kansan too. This could kill multiple members of Disrupt if they don't catch on to it. So hopefully Disrupt are watching out for that, or at least have opened up that possibility through their droning efforts. But I've got a good feeling that Kansan may get away with one for free on this.
Yeah, what seemed to be a sprint for Disrupt initially has grown to a halt here, as this is going to be a big pickup here for Kansan, as he actually might be able to get another, but oh no, he's not able to see him through the soft destruction. Shuttle gets it instead with the frag grenade. Kansan finally follows through and picks up Shuttle as well as another, but immediately refragged by J9. We're back to just trading back and forth between these two squads. Down into the 3 versus 3 though. Disrupt worse for wear now. Lots of damage done to every single one of these members, but Retro definitely the worst off here, only having about 5 HP. Minimal time now though, and obviously desperately need a plant here, but they're getting a lot of good damage off onto EU now though. Grixer getting lit up, as well as Alfama taking just a touch.
United very much staying stalwart in their current positions here. Disrupt going to start to use their remaining utilities. Still a bit of drone intel that they can gain for themselves as well with 3 active drones, or excuse me, 1 active drone per player remaining. NJR going prone here, hoping he can get a foot, but he's going to miss that opportunity. Tries to chuck in a smoke, but missed the ADS just to his left in the process. Sub 10 seconds here now. They've got to start pushing in. Alfama's already been able to deny J9. Retro goes down quickly too. Grixer was able to, or excuse me, Retro was able to take out Rexon, but it's not going to really matter for Not, as that last player is not going to be able to establish any sort of serious positioning to contend for a plant. So we'll see another successful run from the eUnited roster, although it's definitely not all smiles looking at them over there, and as they net themselves their second round.
There's nothing to smile about yet. It's just another round, John. They need to get to the major quals. Eyes on the prize for eUnited is what it seems, is determination in every single set of eyes that I logged onto. So eUnited going to be shifting gears here, headed back upstairs. And guys, we're going to have a purely two-sided defensive half here for eUnited. They have a chance to try and split this 3-3 going into the offensive set, but right now, still looking quite desperate, even with the rewritten setups that they have for their defenses. It seems that DG is just too damn good right now on their offense. I mean, they ended up getting caught off guard a little on that last round there, but it really just seemed to be the initial cadence that they took. They sprint into freezer and they immediately halt, and they feel as though that they can't back out. They tried to commit to it, but obviously eUnited was already ready for it. I mean, you've done it twice to really, really great success. We are going to assume you're going to try it again. You know what I mean?
All right, so back upstairs now for eUnited, taking a look and seeing if there's going to be anything crazy going on with the setup. We do see Rexon putting one of the ADSs to the inside of Master, so there's the possibility we might get that bedroom set up here. Once again, two ADSs, in fact, going here. And there's the shield from Grixer. It's just a little awkward to put on the bed, so he's going to take a second, try and position it. You can see him flinging it out a bunch here, just try and make sure he gets a good spot for it. But there we go. They're going to do that extended bedroom hold, try and give them a little bit more real estate to try and stop Disrupt from being able to take so much control early on. I don't know how well this is going to work, though, because from my memory, except for just getting the walk-in control, Disrupt hasn't necessarily needed all this control towards Master, so we're going to see how well this plays out for them, as I think this is part of the take that could possibly be ignored, assuming they're able to still get some good control over towards the back stairs.
Oh, it's even worse than you think it is. Disrupt didn't go for a tower master clear at all the last time, and eUnited's dedicated all of their ADSs inside of Master. Grixer has every single one of them. So if they actually do end up going for that double window take, there's not a single thing there to try and stop any throwable that they have. And by the way, they have a lot of them.
So taking a look at what exactly we're going to see from the Disrupt roster right at the start, it is a lot of droning coming from Small Tower, which is the route they've taken before. But there is also some presence in Attic this time, so they may yet still play into that setup from eUnited, and a bit of a gamble on focusing so much of the utility over there may, and it's a very big may, still pay off. We'll have to see how that works itself into play later on in the round. For Disrupt, though, they're working to quickly get themselves an opening over here in Attic, and they're going to do that with all three of the X-Kairos. Won't get interrupted by the defenders here, so they're all going to go off without a hitch, and that will give Disrupt access. More than likely, though, I think this is only going to be left for 1 to 2 people to play for entry. This is just one real point of what seems to be a much more complicated take from Disrupt.
All right, well, eUnited going to shift all of this utility across as Jaeger picks up every single ADS and slaps them down inside of Attic. So do still have some presence on the double window here from J9 as Disrupt is strung along the entire map. They have Attic control now, though, but just the front end still need to burn through for Pit, as well as get those members pushed back. But they're pretty good on time right now. Disrupt still has a lot of time at their disposal to handle these situations. They just need to do them appropriately, and it seems as though they want to take the time to do that. Still have quite a few members on drones trying to get this initial information so that they know where these members are and can handle it accordingly.
Come dangerously close to a couple firefights here, but players have kind of danced past each other for the good last minute or so. This favors eUnited, in my opinion, due to the fact that Disrupt have been winning a lot of the outright duels that have presented themselves here so far in this half. Of course, that could potentially change up moment to moment, however. But from what we've been seeing overall, it's been looking good for Disrupt. This one not going to start so well, though. Yeti with a very long rotate. We went on him for just a moment a little bit earlier, and he was rotating all the way through the basement. So a big windup on that one, but it gets him a free kill here so far. Cans is also able to find one, too. Denies the opening pressure from Reed. Retro trying to work his way in through the Attic push now that was opened up, but there's still a lot of problems lurking against him. They've got to deal with this Jaeger. Looked like the shot was dead on, deals a good amount of damage, but it's not going to be enough to take out Rexon here. You just have the 2 window players left, and they really don't have a way to get in here, so more than likely they're just going to hop it, take a risk, see if they can make it happen, and it won't, as you guys might expect there. So eUnited will be able to close out round number 6 and keep this in close contention at halftime.
Practically a flawless round there for eUnited as well. So good adaptations, just real rough from Disrupt there. Mainly because if they would have went for their attack that they were so successful with before, they probably end up winning that round. Mainly because eUnited had planned their entire defensive setup around that tower and master take. Disrupt didn't even get that far. They got attic control and then immediately started getting picked off. eUnited started rotating them around players downstairs. Most notably, Yeti, like we talked about, really nice pickup downstairs onto the Ash. So lots of good things there for eUnited, just really messing with the plans of Disrupt in that last round.
Yeah, they might have kind of played themselves a little bit by trying to make that take so complex, because it left a lot of it took away a lot of potential trades, I think, because when they were pushing previously, they were a lot more grouped up, and I think that left a lot of options open. If their first player going in didn't necessarily hit their shots immediately and went down there was usually someone right behind them or very close by that could ultimately trade that out, whereas I don't think that was necessarily available for a lot of the losses they took early on when they finally started pushing in on that previous round here. So Disrupt now going to move back into the basement, or excuse me, Disrupt going to move into the basement, I should say, now that they start off their defensive half.
Yeah, they just got here. This is their first time in the basement.
Lost track of time because this game's so intense, you know?
Oh, it's just so fun. Yeah. So fun. Also, our last commentating set before Major comes.
That's
so
true.
Yeah. So, you know, good things die hard, I guess, because eUnited and Disrupt are just going at it every step of the way. So I'm hoping that we get a map 3, but right now, I don't really know how to feel. If Disrupt comes out really strong on this defense right here, then I really feel as though this is all she wrote for eUnited. But by what we're already seeing here, this is either going to be quite a quick take into Freezer for eUnited, or you know, just rudimentary stuff, get the EMPs down, get these hatches open, and try and, you know, progress further. We'll have to see how they try and take this, though.
And Jared currently holding on the Freezer stairs, so he'll have the potential for a meetup with some of the members of eUnited relatively soon, but a bit more clearing to be done both upstairs and on the main floor, so it looks like he's actually going to pass that opportunity for a fight by, as now Rexon rotates over to those back stairs with Grixer, and it looks like Kanz and a few of the others going to be grouping up with them as well. Yeti's still doing a bit of top-down destruction, possibly to reveal the position of NJR if he were to get aggressive, but nothing's going to show him out just yet. The ground above him should be relatively safe. Opening up some more rotate routes here as well, just to make that effort a bit of an easier job. We'll open up one of the freezer hatches too. NJR going to be falling back deeper into the freezer itself now that he doesn't have the relative safety anymore, and will play to defend the freezer itself instead of the stairways leading to it.
Well, good progress made by eUnited so far, getting the hatches open and everything along those lines. Alfama with a pretty cheeky setup here for this Selma, drops the smoke and then immediately puts it on to try and break vision, but Reed's got impacts, and that's exactly how that one's going to work out. You toss that in there, blows up, Selma charge now gone. Don't want to try and dedicate any other utility to that, and you can't exactly blame them, so Alfama going to try and take that other places. Kanzan already using all of his hard destruction, so he's now down at the bottom of Laundry Stairs, and he'll be here for more than likely the rest of the round unless he's killed. Kanzan wants to hold this down just to keep constant pressure on these Disrupt members and not allow them to rotate where they want to go. Also could be setting up for this freezer plant pretty soon as well. Still have Reed here inside of the closets. He'll be dipping back and forth, but Disrupt seem to be good for this offensive this offensive take from eUnited. Selma charge is now down on the closet, but that's going to get taken out. Does make things a little bit more awkward to stand inside of there, though.
Gotta watch out for your head, of course, if you try to go for a wider swing, especially if you're trying to use that sidewall in order to accomplish the task. 38 seconds remain here, and finally, members of eUnited are going to start to show their face on the site. Unfortunately, it does not go well for them. They're able to take out about half the HP from Reed, but Reed gets a solid kill on the Kanzan. Get him out of the fight here. Rexon, crouching in the middle of Freezer, is going to be able to find the trade onto Reed. Brings things down into a 4 versus 4. Rexon will actually go up on top of some terrain here, try to see if he can get himself a kill as well. But in the meantime, Alfama's swung right in. There is a member of Disrupt nearby. He just doesn't feel the confidence to push out there outright. He is able to deny the plant, but he's lost his entire team. However, with 7 seconds left, could try to play the timer, but that's not going to happen. eUnited successfully forced their way into the site and take control of the opening attacking round.
Really strong start there for them. So eUnited looking strong on this offense, at least for that first round there. Trying to adjust some notes. I accidentally wrote 2 numbers incorrectly. So There we go. All right, now that things are in order for me, we can talk about what the heck just happened. eUnited with a pretty good offense there. I mean, it was just what we really expect from that kind of a take. You know, freezer laundry, smoke plant, just trying to deny lines of sight. There was nothing really extra to it at all. There was nothing really botched by Disrupt there or anything of that sort. So, I mean, as long as eUnited are allowed to get that execute to go off in such a good fashion, I don't see anything really going awry for them. For Disrupt, though, I would have liked to see them try and extend the round just a little bit more for their man count, because I feel like they could have been a lot more successful once that Nitro Cell went off and took out the planner. If DG even has one more body there, then they really, really have a good chance to try and shut that out up against eUnited, strictly because of the timer. If they're able to contest one gunfight and win it, they probably end up winning that round.
Biggest problem for trying to make that happen, though, was the fact the shuttle got blinded out. And, I mean, from the amount of time it took him to actually put that Nitro on the ground, he couldn't really decipher much from sound cues either. So he was the only player, I think, that was watching laundry at that point, as Reed had died a couple seconds before that push happened. And as a result of that, he just couldn't see anything. He probably couldn't account for the massive burst of players suddenly coming out, and because it went uncommunicated, that more than likely led to a couple of the deaths on Disrupt as well, and things just kind of fell down like dominoes from that point forward. So Shuttle was able to maybe make a play there, get a bit more aggressive, or just try to decipher what was going on through the smoke a little bit better. Things may have ended up a little bit more positively for Disrupt in that situation, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that there's quite a few things that obviously could have changed for them, but nevertheless, eUnited walking away with that round after some, just really good gameplay. I mean, there was nothing more than that. They just went through the steps and did them properly, and when you do the stuff properly and you don't mess it up, you're probably going to end up winning. Isn't that funny? That's just kind of how it works. So eUnited now going to be showing a little bit of a different take here, forcing Rexen up main stairs. I haven't seen something this aggressive in some time. We've seen them do this with Yeti on the previous map. We saw him, a lot of cheeky kills as that Ash crouch walking around. That's usually something that we frown upon inside of competitive Siege, but it still works just as well here as it works anywhere else. You can still get those really nice entry kills simply by Disrupt members not holding the proper lines of sight. eUnited are going to immediately back off of that, though, and try and play a little bit more patient.
JR continuing to patiently wait for any presence to work its way up to Master Balcony, but we're not going to see that, and more than likely we won't see that for the foreseeable future here, as most of the pressure from eUnited is working its way up the main stairs, where MJR is able to now deny the first bit of aggression from the eUnited roster, although just barely taking down, I believe, Cans in there before Yeti is able to get a nice chance at an exchange against Retro, who I think ran out from somewhere deeper, possibly over here on the west side of the map, it looks like, judging from the way he was aiming, but
I was gonna say, you said deeper, and then we walked past the first window. I was like, even deeper, just all the way over at Showers
more.
Jumping out. Perfection.
Either way,
anyways,
with that bit of a trade, eUnited are going to be able to make a bit more progress. They seem to have most of the control over towards Master. This includes getting their hard breach up to the walk-in wall, so he's got the capability to disable that, and it's already been breached too as well here. So Alfama has full vision to the inside. Flashes are going to move in. That Nitro is going to get tossed out, but doesn't seem to do much damage to the attacking force here, as all four of them still at full HP. NJR, of course, is going to be hiding now due to the low HP that he's working with, so don't expect any heroics from him. He's got to take a very safe angle here, but some of the other players may still be able to step up to the plate. You see, though, quite a few of Disrupt's roster have really been self-contained to the inside of kids' dorms. They don't seem to have a safe route to try and battle back out of that. But the good news is eUnited is very patiently waiting for them to try and swing out of there, so they're still safely baiting down a lot of the time as a result of hiding in the back right now.
yeah, we saw a lot of them dedicated to drones here, and they're just trying to re-drone the site to find where these positions are for Disrupt. Really smart, especially going to the later rounds, so you know what you're dealing with. But oh no, Alfama's gonna have some problems with the wall once again. He's very low HP, and he's now downed himself. This is such a big problem now. Oh my goodness gracious. Yeti has to try and swing in through the window, but Disrupt all over it there on that defensive round, all because of Alfama dying on that. They had to try and collapse simply because the case went down. The crossfire was set up. They probably win that round once again if Alfama's able to put that down.
Alfama just...
That's... Oh, man.
Just not having the luckiest day here. Unfortunately, Alfama is not, as that's the second gaff that we've seen just on this map. That's going to tie us up at 4-4 now. It's going to bring the members of Disrupt back into the game and give them an opportunity to take control of the lead once again. And this time it's going to be on a kitchen and dining hall defense. They're not feeling the need to go down to the basement right now.
Okay, well, after that last one, You just kind of got to shake you shake it off, move
it's
forward.
like I said
There's
with the
no
other
real
round, right?
reason
It's
to.
just like, whatever, just get past it, just keep playing. There's like, you know what you did wrong, you know exactly what happened. Don't worry about it. Just keep playing, right? Don't let it bother you.
Exactly. It's like what they say in the NFL, right? Like mind of a quarterback. If you throw an interception, you immediately still have to get back out there and, do it the next time when it's your time. So you can't sit there and dwell on the past. You don't have any control of it. So you might as well work into the future and see what you can possibly produce. But as for right now, I mean, still stings a little bit. I think that eUnited still definitely have a chance. It's just that, especially with how the smokes work, sometimes, you can't see exactly where the smokes outline is, and on such low HP. Just very unfortunate that Alfama ended up getting caught on that breach once again. I mean, he's been stuck by 2 rotates today, one on Clubhouse and one on Oregon. I don't know what we need to do. Do we need to get like a carpenter in here to fix these? He needs something.
Like I said, it just hasn't been Alfama's day, unfortunately. What we can talk about here is this interesting setup from Disrupt. We saw this on Monday too. You guys the first question you're going to have is, well, why is that entire wall on the left side of site completely soft? And that's because they kind of want eUnited to take control of it, because their Disrupt, is setting themselves up for great denial from both inside of the showers here, of course, to stop the players from getting small tower control to begin with, and then deeper back in kitchen as well to really try and disrupt the overall push here from eUnited. I hate that I have to use that word with this team name, but yeah.
Par for the course, my man. Par for the course. Well, we'll see if we see that cool angle that we saw upstairs inside of Kids once again. I'm assuming that it's there simply because the single panel's broken, but we saw the Sonics try and plant on the A-bomb chassis inside of site, which was quickly dispatched by, DG the last time that we saw this, or by the other unit. Can't exactly remember because my brain is fried, but eUnited making good progress into small already, and actually... Oh, well, I assumed there for just a second that they're actually breaching the top floor, but they don't have anything there to really assist them with that. It's just going to be Rexen up top with some breaching rounds. So they'll have some soft destruction here. Only hard destruction they have is those throwable ones. Obviously, the Ace and Habana along for the ride. But since eUnited's going into the setup that John was just so graciously talking about, this is going to make things a little bit different. They really have to worry about this Showers player right now, as well as the utility on the actual site. Now, a lot of these Disrupt members are going to be carrying that denial. It's all about the entry frags right now for EU.
Disrupt is patiently waiting for this. They know that at the moment this is a very one-dimensional push entirely from small tower side. As far as I can tell, there is no efforts from eUnited to try and work their way in either through front door or another avenue to try and come in on the back on these guys. So yeah, with this big conjoined push, Kanza might be the only real differential to this, but even he's just watching yellow window right now, which isn't going to give them much of an angle to try and take down the player in showers. They might get lucky and catch him on a fallback, but that's a bit of a Hail Mary at this point in the round. Now you're already down to 1 minute. They feel they've got what they need, though, and they've been pretty efficient with these smokes. It's going to block off both their POVs, but Nitro Cell rolls in. It looks like it got either shot or denied in some way, though, as it's not going to explode. Same thing can be said for the smoke charges if there's one of those. Throw them, but hey, defenders don't have a smoke, so we don't have to worry about that. There we go. There's the Nitro Cell from Retro. It's going to be able to take down Alfama just a little bit too late, unfortunately, as the plant is already down. And now this plan from Disrupt turns itself back against their own setup, as it's just as hard to retake against this as it is to hold it here. We can see it. Grixer, Rexen all picking up kills. NJR is going to be able to get 1 for Disrupt, but it's now been brought down to a 2 versus 3. They've got less than 20 seconds to jump on the case and get the counter defuse here. Retro tries to go out. He'll be shut out by Yeti, and the same can be said for NJR, who goes down at the end as well. That's another one for eUnited, who will maintain control of their lead with that round being won.
Really, really intelligent execute there from eUnited. Very low requirement as well. I mean, they really didn't have any map control that was, over the top. They didn't have anything that they necessarily didn't need. So eUnited able to progress forward simply because of a smoke plant once again. I feel like these have grown more prevalent in recent history. We kind of went away from them where we never saw smoke plants anymore, but since the meta's changed up a lot, especially with the defensive utility, these have definitely rushed back to the forefront here. eUnited pulling off yet another one, which we didn't think that they really were going to be able to do. I mean, even when the smokes went down, I still assumed that there would be some sort of vision or something in sight for the defense to be able to know where the plant was going down, but that wasn't the case. They'd go for a Hail Mary Nitro Cell, but he gets shot out of the air by Grixer with some really nice reflexes, and then that's all she wrote for Disrupt. You have to try and, as you said, push back against eUnited. Now that the setup's completely flipped, it's still going to be just as hard to try and retake as it is for them to try and take and plant. So I mean, very, very rough going there for Disrupt.
And that really is the pivotal moment of the round, was when that nitro cell gets shot out there, because if that thing goes off, it's going to deny the plant. And even worse, it plays right in a Disrupt setup, because they have the case now locked in the middle of sight. And there's no easy way for anyone from eUnited to try and sneak in there and take it, because they just used their only utility that was going to block vision. So unfortunate for Disrupt, is if that had gone off, they more than likely would have closed that out based on the way I was looking at it. But for eUnited, it works just as well in their favor, now that they were able to deny the nitro cell denial and be able to get the plant down for themselves. Great work by them. And of course, he said it was a great shot by Grixer to really save their butts in that situation.
It's been a great map from eUnited overall, especially with what we were talking about at the beginning. I mean, having a 1-4 record on Oregon, then allowing it into the map pool is not something that we see all the time. So eUnited allowing this through meant that they needed to improve on it. And so far, I'll definitely say that they have. I mean, these offenses have been really, really crisp. The defense as well, looking quite strong. So eUnited still well within this race and trying to push us to this third map that's really, really needed.
Let's see Laundry Hatch get opened up relatively quickly here. Not that there's going to be much resistance on that. The same can be said for the Meeting Hatch going downstairs, and even Freezer too. No resistance from our defenders in that regard, so plenty of POVs going to be opened up for eUnited to use. Will they be able to use them, though? That's always the big question here. So Freezer and Laundry Access has been the go-to, considering the heavy setups we've been seeing from a lot of teams, DG notwithstanding, of course, over there towards the tunnel. And like I said, this round's no exception to that. They've got plenty of players set up, along with plenty of utility in that department, so they're going to try and ignore it by going for more Laundry and Freezer pressure. Disrupt will be very well aware of this. So they've got their own setup to try and start counteracting this a little bit more, but they've got to get a good lock as to where exactly the pressure is going to be coming from, as eUnited are changing their player positions up quite rapidly, and Disrupt are having to try and respond to that just based off the audio cues and any cameras that may still be left up, which I would bargain that there's probably not a lot of them.
Yeah, this is where things get quite hectic for both squads, as they're trying to make those mid-round adjustments that can win you these really, really needed rounds. I mean, as we're looking at right now, 5-4 right now in between these two, is currently inside of round 10. But for Disrupt, it's pretty general setup for the downstairs, usual shield setups and everything else in between. But we are going to have yet another smoke play here from eUnited as Kansan drops down, and that's the Habana. Retro takes him down. I mean, you're not going to be missing too much. Drone's gone. I mean, the only thing you're really going to be missing from that is Kansan's firepower. Yeah. So going into these last couple of seconds, Disrupt looking quite strong. Retro burns his last smoke on tower stairs. eUnited desperately need to try and force themselves into sight. They've already burned quite a bit of utility here. Alfama does still have a smoke that he can utilize, but the kill's now coming through for the blue squad. Immediately refragged by NJR, though. Alfama lighting up the scoreboard, finally has something done. Rexon from the top rope takes down Retro and Harry Potter, and he's now got the cross for Freezer. The case is down inside of supply, though. They really, really need to pick this up and go for this, but he's down one. Grixer actually kills his teammate. Oh no, eUnited, not again. It happens again. Disrupt win a round off of EU's mistakes.
I'm always really hesitant to say this, but I'm gonna say it because I think it's applicable. I mean, eUnited, their greatest enemy at this point is starting to become themselves to a small degree here.
It's really Jekyll and Hyde right now. It really is.
Like I said, I hate to say that because it's a very strong statement, but it's 3 rounds now. Technically 4 if we count the glitch to rotate from Alfama as well. But that's not really his fault.
What the hell was going on with Kansan? Like, and my only question with that is, like, is his main job to kill the player in Harry Potter, the guy in Pillar? Is he supposed to be entering sight? Why is he dropping when he really doesn't have vision inside of there? Like, the smoke grenade obviously helps mask it, but he still has to move out, and other people can just watch the 2 doors. There's just some really weird things inside of the rounds where you're like, oh, eUnited's made some really good progress, and then it just goes sideways.
I mean, I think it's just trying to establish a really forward entry position, because it's like, I mean, you mentioned it, right? When he died, he didn't have any drones still. Both of them are already dead. He'd already used all 3 of the X-Kairos, so all you were losing was this gun and the player, obviously. So I think they probably had some good drone intel as to where players were specifically at, and they were hoping that he would have been able to drop down there, get a kill real quick, and open up more of a window for players to like swarm in from backstairs, and of course more come in the hatch at the same time. And that obviously just didn't happen, so he just gets downed outright, and no one else follows him because they'd probably suffer the same fate. So
yeah, really no follow through there. It's just like, okay, if he gets it, then we follow through. But if he doesn't, I guess we kind of got to go back to the drawing board.
Plan B, boys. 4v5. Like I suppose, like I said, I'm not a pro, so I'm not built for analyzing these things. But that's my kind of assumption as to what the situation was supposed to be there.
You're probably right. The beauty of Rainbow Six and like pro play in general is that it's usually like common sense. You know what I mean? Like if you see them do something, you're like, oh, that looks really smart. That's usually because it is, and that's why they're doing it. You know what I mean? So I mean, for that, I could definitely see that working out here. But eUnited now just aggressively getting inside of the building. We have less than 30 seconds off the board. Kansan standing on top of the mattress inside of Master right now. Rex in here as well inside of Armory. We could see some really early entry here.
Yeah, at the very minimum, it's very early control going over to the United side. You'll note, of course, the lack of a lot of utility from Disrupt here on the inside of the bedroom, which was something that United did towards the end of their half. In the meanwhile, though, it's also important to note that Reed is down on the second floor, and there's no one looking for him at this point. So he's got so much free intel that he's going to be able to gain as to where exactly the majority of the United players are coming from right now. Even if he goes down here, right, he's still going to give a great amount of intel as to what exactly the rest of the folks on Disrupt should expect here.
Yeah, and that's going to help them out a lot. They can shift their utility. They can move players around to assist with these kinds of things. I mean, the main thing is right now for eUnited, they kind of did things backwards as to what we're used to seeing for this kind of a take, which isn't a bad thing because they got really good control of Master early on. You might as well use your utility there while you're already there to utilize it and get it done. So they're going to shift on over to Big Tower here and start working on that attic. Once they get control of that, it's going to be down to that execute time once again, where we're going to be looking for those entry frags for EU.
So still a little bit more work to be done, as you were talking about there, kind of doing things a little bit in the reverse order right now. We'll see the rest of eUnited start to work their way in here. It's mainly from main stairs side. You just saw one player leap into Arsenal, and of course we got 2 to 3 in bedrooms. That seems to be the main avenue of attack right now. Disrupt do have players downstairs in meeting too, so they're still very much aware of the fact that they can be trying to get attic control, and they're trying to watch for the rotates on that. That's what J9's doing, prone over there inside of meeting. But it's actually gonna be Reed that falls first. Like I said, he was kind of on his own there, and he did have freedom to just sit on the heartbeat sensor for, you know, the first 2 minutes of this round. So it's not too surprising that he is gonna get picked for free. But like I said before, J9 is in the neighborhood, and he's here to trade. Takes out Yeti, and is gonna bring it right back down into a 4v4.
And it sounded like a friendly neighborhood watch thing. I was just in the neighborhood, stopped by, shot Yeti, and then I left. Just very quickly and early on here. But actually not so early on, as Alfama once again gets dispatched as he tries to push into games, and it's Disrupt all over the board once again. But Grixer trying to change things up. Rexon takes down one as well. Grixer follows through onto the double kill with Shuttle. That angled grip helping him out quite a bit. Now down to J9 though. Needs to try and find where this man's planting. They don't have exactly any information on where he was. That was, oh no, my goodness, what is going on in between these guys? So many things that should not have happened right there. Wow. Okay, so eUnited ends up winning that. Grixer pistol whipping the last remaining member of DG, but I really thought that Disrupt had that. I mean, they had no read on where that last Disrupt member was. Comes to the top of White Stairs, and very unfortunate for him, he clicks the Nitro cell at the same time as the EU member steps out into his line of sight, which means that you can't ADS. So he has to hip fire with the SMG-11 and try and win that. Luckily enough, he still wins it after he peeks into the actual dorms area, but it was too little too late. eUnited end up winning another round here, and it really just feels like a miracle when eUnited's doing these things. I mean, like, both of these teams end up having these little issues. I really don't know what to tell you. This has been just a very weird Oregon.
Well, for me, Grixer gets the gold star on that round. He gets 2 entries that he really had like no business getting for himself there after his teammate went down when he was trying to get walk-in control, and because he gets those 2 kills, that's the only reason the rest of his team is getting into that site right there. Without him, that's absolutely a Disrupt round. So really good stuff by Grixer there to open up the possibilities where otherwise it would not have been presented. Definitely the main component in the success there for eUnited. And of course, it's put them on map point now. Disrupt has to respond on this round and take us to OT again, where we are going, or excuse me, take us to OT for the first time, as he didn't actually go to OT on the last map. So yeah, they need to close it. They need to try and bring it back here. Otherwise, we are going to go to that map 3.
10 seconds left.
Well, we'll see what happens here. I was definitely surprised by that Grixer play as well. The fact that he got to the top of White Stairs and was just still allowed to exist, that was the thing that blew me away. I assumed somebody would have the cross or be able to help out the white player in some way, but that was not the case. eUnited walk away with that last round, but as you said, match point time here. eUnited desperately need this to push us to map 3. If they let Disrupt back into it, this will be our first OT of the day in between these two. Disrupt feeling confident about this top stairs hold, and I can't blame them. They've went back to what worked prior. They've moved NGR, into Master, trying to slow down EU's take up here. That prior round just getting a lot of pressure into that closet early on, which allowed them to use that hard breach and really set a really good tone for the rest of the round.
He's even got an electric claw supporting him as well in case anybody tries to hard breach the wall next to him. So they're really betting a lot on NJR staying successful here, as they're obviously going to make it pretty darn difficult for eUnited to be able to get access to his current position without taking a direct gunfight against him. J9 is supporting the swing from behind him too, so this is a really tight setup for Disrupt if it ends up working, and there's no reason why it shouldn't work right now. It all just comes down to the fragging potential ultimately and how players like J9 are going to be able to hold up in their positions. They've also got capability to deny any pressure coming in. The real question is, what exactly is Shuttle's plan way over here in Attic from the other side of the reinforced wall? And this is it. We get a quick answer to that as well. Waits for the call from his teammates and then immediately goes wild, swinging out there to take down Grixer.
Well, you got to give it to Shuttle. I mean, he has had such a showing inside of this series so far. And like the analyst desk was talking about, one of the most improved players inside of all of the NAL. So really nice to be seeing him do really, really well inside of this series here. 11-3-6 right now on Oregon, and continuing to light up that scoreboard. I mean, him as well as NJR both having a 0.7 KPR. They are 0.78 KPR, excuse me. But they were talking about how those two have really been the duo of this squad so far, making really big impact when needed. And it's happening again here. Shuttle top fragging and NJR right behind him at 8-5-8.
Retro in a bit of a pressured position right now. He's going to be incredibly important for the success or failure, more than likely, of the initial execute here, as eUnited are more than likely going to have to swing right past his position before they can get further out onto the site. Alfama's the player looking to get out, but he doesn't necessarily want to push the advantage as of yet, mainly because he's got these smokes to throw out here. And we are going to see Rexen get down first by Shuttle when players do begin to try and move in. That was an attempt to cut off Retro, I believe, further down by the stairs there. Alfama trying to look for better positioning to play off of here now. In fact, he's worried about a rotate coming back through main stairs because of the action that happened down below a couple seconds before. They still have 25 seconds, and they can make this work. In fact, Yeti is finally going to be able to catch Retro out and take him down. Shuttle, though, is going to walk right up behind Yeti, finding the trade. Alfama will be able to deny him at least, but J9 is sitting on the inside of Attic and swiftly gets the final kill to put Disrupt back up to 6 as well here, tying us up and taking us to the first OT of the series.
Well, it wouldn't be a fight for a major bid unless there was some overtime involved, so let's jump right into it. That round, though, eUnited, not the best showing on their clears. They had some really good ideas going into the later half there. Nice rotation there by Yeti over towards White, but they weren't accounting for Disrupt to continue to try and move these players around. Specifically Shuttle. Shuttle was just kind of off doing his own thing, maintaining control downstairs and either going to attempt a nitro cell or go for a late flank at some point. Obviously can also come back to site. There's a lot of options for him there, and that's exactly why he chose to play downstairs. So, great showing there, again, by Disrupt, but specifically Shuttle. He was really the highlight of that entire round and the real reason why Disrupt got to push this to overtime in the first place. We are going to have some interesting things, though, already starting us off in this round. This is going to be the first time that we've seen Monty this entire series.
It's going to be interesting to say the least, as it'll be against a basement push as well, so more than likely some good capability to directly contest those heavy tunnel setups that we've been seeing from both Disrupt and eUnited on their defensive sides. The same thing can be applied to a couple other kind of important points in the setup here from Disrupt as well, so might force a bit more out of our defending team here, who's rounded the comeback after initially controlling this map, and is now going to try and look for the outright 2-0 victory if they can win 2 out of the next 3 rounds. Rest of the setup is going off here now. We do have the Goyo, so you can expect some shield play to be done by the tunnel once again. Not that we would expect anything different on this site. There you go. They're working on the half wall setup now to allow that to happen, and here's the first of some of those shields from Shuttle.
All right, well, let's see how eUnited tries to utilize this shield here. Again, it's like what we saw the last time from Disrupt. It's going to just be a rudimentary basement setup. We're going to have both the Goyo shields focused on the construction area, as well as smoke shield placed more than likely inside of laundry, just so that they have a nice area to play for laundry here, or excuse me, for freezer. But we'll have to see exactly where he's placed that later on here. Don't exactly see it just yet, so there's obviously plenty of places they can possibly slap that thing down, so to see exactly what happens with that. eUnited, though, working their way into the site here. I'm still really interested just to see how this Monty works. They are playing quite aggressively, actually. Retro and actually Shuttle upstairs inside of Big Tower, dealing with Grixer. Shuttle hiding behind the metal box inside of the big tower. Grixer's not going to account for this, because who would account for this?
The thing is, though, is they wouldn't account for what he did the last round either. So they've got to be expecting something from him, given what he just did. But at the same time, there could be the possibility they're not expecting it. If they're thinking, okay, that was just a one-time thing. No way he does some crazy stuff like that twice. But this could, like, doubly work because they have Retro on the stairs. If Retro is able to take the initial attention away, there's absolutely zero chance they're going to expect Shuttle to pop up. So
I think, honestly, that's the entire plan, is literally just bait Shuttle there, try and get some pressure on those back stairs and see exactly what happens. Grixer's still really, really worried about those back stairs, and he damn well should be, but I really want to see him try and drone this area out. He has some intel inside of here, but Grixer's not moved his drone forward, which means Shuttle still just gets to exist here. No one's droned him out. He's going to sit here the entire time. The only thing that eUnited could, I mean, possibly do is just wait for him to move. But this is going to be the thing that we're going to focus on for the rest of this round. Shuttle is literally the make or break for Disrupt here.
The thing is, though, is that eUnited might be kind of ignoring that. It doesn't look like they have a lot of backstairs presence at all here. We can see, once again, they're really opting for the freezer and laundry push here. So Shuttle might have to end up regrouping with the team anyway. That, or at minimum, just go for a massive flank maneuver against the overall eUnited push. Is, you know, all the time that's gone by, they've probably assumed that there's nothing really to worry about on those back stairs, except for the players that are actually at the bottom of it trying to swing up from there. Shuttle more than likely has free right to initiate, at least on the Zofia right now. And then if obviously he can make the contention happen a bit closer to the site, he could take out the large force that's pushing in from Laundry. Because remember, we still have the Montaigne in play too. In fact, there we go. Shuttle pops up. He's just going to take the frag on Grixer, though. He doesn't want to try to push the advantage any further. Yeti will trade things out now as he's trying to push in from the tunnel. Shuttle already in position to try and counter this. And man, an ace headshot onto Yeti to make it happen as well. Rest of the team is pushing in here. J9 is holding on despite the Montaigne in his face. Gets himself a kill. Puts the Montaigne in an awkward spot to take him down. And after a few more trades, rally out. Disrupt, stand tall, with Shuttle getting the last kill yet again here. They'll take the first round in OT and put themselves only one more round away from closing out the series and confirming their bid into the major qualifier.
This is the best series that I've seen Shuttle have in a very, very long time. Shuttle's been a long-time player inside of Rainbow Six Siege, long-time professional player as well. And to see him have such success inside of Stage 2, especially inside of this round where everything's on the line, this is your major qual bid. This is what you need to win. It's nice to see him turn up once again. Great stuff here for Shuttle. Really, really opening up the playbook when it comes to things. And I really like that Disrupt's open-minded when it comes to it, because that's not something that you call and everyone's usually on board with. You know, like, hey, man, I'm going to lay inside a big tower and you're just going to play my staircase. Like, that's it. That was the whole thing. I'm just going to lay here, and if they drone me, I'm probably dead.
Like,
but if they don't drone me...
Freedom, when you think about it, right? With some of the crazy stuff that Laxton tries to do occasionally, it's almost like that level of freedom that they've given him right now.
Yeah, exactly. And that's really, really nice when your squad is that invested into you. They trust you that much to try and make a proper call. And let's be honest, Shuttle's 16-4-7 right now. The guy is living in eUnited's, head rent-free. When they close their eyes at night, they're going to see Shuttle. That's what's going to happen.
And on this round specifically, they're going to see Shuttle's sledge, if they even get the opportunity to, with how quickly he's been popping off headshots here. We'll see how well the overall Disrupt roster will look against this basement attack. Like we said before, they've already shown themselves that they can handle even direct confrontation against these big tunnel takes. But they've also found the solution to get around this when you consider that, once again, a lot of the utility is going to be committed here. eUnited are smart that they're adjusting to not put everything here. You'll note that Rexon's going to deploy the ADSs a little bit more liberally across the map right now. In fact, he's still got one pocketed, so we'll see where he puts that. But he's got the second one on pillar, and he's just going to put the third one here, I think. So actually, no, they are committing quite a bit of it to this side. So once again, that's going to leave the other side of the map a bit weak with regards to trying to resist at least throwables that are coming into the site.
We are going to have that triangle choke shield setup that we saw from earlier for eUnited. So we'll see if Disrupt have game planned around this and have come up with a solution. Personally speaking, my solution, don't even touch the dang thing. There's so much utility dedicated here. Really, the only thing that they're going to be able to do is use read in this way. EMP above those, get rid of the ADSs, and then blow stuff up. So I like that they made this adjustment, because this is what they didn't do last time, and they actually had the Thatcher the last time as well. So utilizing their entire team's kit this time, they're actually able to make some sort of impact on this setup from eUnited. Nicely done from Disrupt.
Trying to get rid of Alfama's position is probably going to be the toughest through the avenue that they're currently using with the EMP charges here, just because you have to go for a pretty wide swing to get a nade or some piece of utility into his position, and that's where Rexen and ideally Grixer would come in to immediately shut that down if anybody attempted it. So a little bit more work to be done if they really want to try and force everybody in through that tunnel, as we've seen a lot of the other high-level teams doing here. But at least it's the beginning of something. The problem is, though, is that United also have no problem just swinging out this door and playing aggressively against Disrupt. And if Disrupt are smart, they should be aware of that. So they've got to be very cautious about how they approach that tunnel if they are still planning to use that.
Well, they've done really well so far. I mean, even looking at the scoreboard, I mean, the kills are pretty evenly spread, even on the low end. So great stuff here from Disrupt. I expect the team play to continue here, and as well as this assistance. But going into this last minute, a lot of utility being burnt on the defensive end. Smoke is going off, as well as some Selma charges for the offense, just starting to get things cleared out here. This is actually going to be a really nice little hold here. I believe he sees him. Can he get him? Oh no, the drop! Yeti! Oh my god! We didn't even see him coming. He just came all the way from attic, blows the hatch open, and shoots 2 people in the head. That's exactly what eUnited needed, but now NJR on the entry for DG picks up Rexen. They're trying to force things at the back of sight, but they have to worry about a Malusi inside of meeting. There's so many ways that this could go wrong. They now have pillar control as well as the single panel handled, but Yeti still has this meeting control. He drops down the hatch. They're going to need this kill. He downs the Ash, follows through onto that, whips the pistol out, but he can't get the last one that was really needed. Retro working his way in, but Yeti's given EU a chance here with very minimal time. They still need this plant to go down, and that's going to be onto Retro. After that kill, this is definitely doable, but Reed already rotated, and now Retro's dead. It's a 1 versus 2. He doesn't know the positioning. Disrupt is not going to be able to close it out this time. They got to do it on the defense.
United, a nice hold, and Yeti, what a nice play. The rotate through the second floor above attic hatch to drop down on the players trying to get meeting hatch and destroy them both. They didn't see it coming. We didn't see it coming, but Yeti, he saw it coming, and he was able to make massive impact here to save his team in this round, stop Disrupt from having safe control over the pillar room and tunnel pushes, and as a result of that, it's shut down by DG in the 1vx situation, or excuse me, shut down by EU in the 1vx situation, and they're going to be able to take themselves up to 7-7.
That was, wow, what a round from Yeti. Great adaptation there, realizing that Disrupt didn't have any members over on the lobby side of the building, so he was safe to rotate up Freezer. So really good recognition from him, knowing what they're doing with their offense. Rotates all the way up to attic, and I mean, you guys saw what happened there. That's a round that I don't think I'm going to see the same way ever again. That was very well done by that United squad. So United now live to fight another round, at least. Not a day just yet. We'll see if they get that far here. They really need this to push this to this next map, and it's going to be headed back towards the dining kitchen setup. This is something that we saw them work against pretty well the last time around. Their solution to it, smoke off both of the doors and then go for the plant next to the little table area, right past the other table area. This area is kind of hard to describe now that I think about it, but it's the one with like the plaid couch, or not the plaid couch, but the plaid seat that no one would
something
ever buy
on the screen
ever.
Right now. Yeah.
It looks like something Parker would wear. That's yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this round came really close for Disrupt, so it's not too much of a surprise to see them go back to it, because the overarching strategy up until the plant, it was absolutely working for them. The problem was the Nitro that was supposed to deny the plant and lock the case in sight, it got shot out by Grixer. Now, that's a tough shot to hit, so I think Disrupt are gambling that won't happen again. They'll be able to properly deny it this time, even with the smokes potentially being a problem. And still, after they deny that first plant attempt, they'll be in a much better position to control the rest of the round. I think that's Disrupt's hope here, to try and get them up to the 8th round and close out this series.
I completely agree with you. I think it's a really good gamble because of that Nitro cell getting shot out of the air. eUnited have to be thinking the same thing as well, because they're obviously well aware of how that round was won. Alfamo was probably clenching his cheeks right when that thing got tossed and he heard it. I mean, you can't blame the guy. You're about to get blown up from a Nitro cell. So eUnited, a lot weighs on this round right here, and they have to practically do this in perfection in order to get it done. We have a lot of eUnited members currently sitting outside of the small tower window, which is something, surely. I don't exactly know what, but it definitely is something.
A lot of players are just setting up drones more than anything right now, so a lot of them just ended up standing in the same position. out of...
I think it's a safe and clear out small tower, honestly,
Yeah.
so that they can just like all work in from the same area.
Everybody can get in here. They know they have the player in showers, of course. They want to be careful not to run into that issue as they're trying to get into small tower itself. But as you said, with everybody up here, they can safely enter, start to wrap their way around the staircase and get into a better position to work the actual take. Because for the most part, they can kind of ignore Reed's position as long as they stay on that one side of the room and not try to drift over to where he has an angle.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. eUnited is doing more of the same that we saw them do the last time. They're still really concerned about the shower position, but the last time we didn't see them try and go against it at all. They are actually going to go about things in a very different fashion here. This time, summoning the double wall that was reinforced that we don't usually see picked up. Reed with a really, really bad move here. Moves to the back showers, but ends up getting taken down. eUnited look like they really have a chance here.
Disrupt, though, still it's going to try and put some resistance onto these back halls. J9's going to take a position on the 90 corner at the end of yellow, trying to wait and see where the swing will come from. You'll note there hasn't been a commitment just yet from the eUnited camp. They did use one of their smokes to Selma open the showers, but they haven't committed the second one, and they do technically need that second one to get full coverage on the site. They're doing a lot of their droning right now, probably to custom pick where they want to throw this and make sure they block off as much as possible, but they're running out of time to get it done. This is going to be a Hail Mary execute right here. If it doesn't work and they get denied, because keep in mind, there's still 2 Nitros on the defending side right now, this could pretty much leave them with no options left to get in, and it'll be a 1 map from Disrupt. But here we go. In goes the Nitro. It blows up, but it misses Alfama. He's got a safe plant spot. Grixer doesn't even have to deny either one of them. It's going to go down. They've got to start working on this retake. Shuttle just swings out, denies the plant outright. J9 gets 2 kills for himself, but he's got to be careful. He can still get edged out here, and he's going to get taken down by Retro, who comes in at the last second to save the day for Disrupt and confirm the series for them as they close it out on round 15 in the final one of overtime and take the overall 2-0 in the series.
Oh my goodness gracious, what a way to close out a series there. I mean, both of the teams just coming out of the gates there. We saw eUnited really prepared for that execute, and then immediately when we switch over to Disrupt, they flood through the smoke. They take down the man planting. Alfama's now off the board. They have to try and pick up that case, but Disrupt winning almost every single gunfight that mattered up until that 3 versus 1 at the very end. Amazing series here for Disrupt, and I really hate to say this, but it just goes to prove eUnited can't close things out.
Yeah, unfortunately the case, and that's going to do it for myself and Stokes for the evening, folks. We'll be back, of course, in a later day as we get closer towards the major itself, but for the time being, it is indeed time to go back to our analyst desk to break things down and hopefully have a few words with our winners, who I'm sure are going to be very excited they came out on top of that one.
Blue and Stokes, thank you so much for your fabulous casting. As always, have a great evening, and man, whew, that was a map 2. Oregon, whew, that was another close one going to OT, but Disrupt does it again, bringing down eUnited 8-7, nabbing that last NA qualifier spot. eUnited getting 7th, getting nothing.
Dang.
Yeah. Dang, exactly, Melly. That sums it up perfectly.
Oh.
All right, gentlemen, let's roll through the replays here. This was just nutty.
Jackie, Jesse, it all came down to this. The winner moves on. You get a chance to possibly play in the NA Major. But still, eUnited, they fell short. Now, Jesse, this is a weird one to me, man, for the simple fact that eUnited, like, especially in that matchup against Dark Zero, we thought they were next up. We thought everything was going right. Kansan, the aggressive anchor and hard breacher. You got Rexen, the veteran, the OG. But they keep falling short, man. I don't know what to think of them.
I mean, it's tough, right? Because there's a lot of skill on this team, and I said this, you know, before we were on broadcast, but I'm going to say it again. They've got a big break coming up. You know, they don't play in the NAL again until March after this loss for eUnited. They do have the invitational qualifiers, but other than that, it's just going to be a 3-month break for them. So yeah, this is a team with a lot of talent, a lot of potential. I fully expect that they're going to use that time wisely and they're going to improve on things. Again, they've had so many close matches. It's just not closing those out that have really, you know, hurt them in the long run. So I expect they'll be back better than ever for next season. But for now, it's back to the drawing board and they have some time to work on it.
I'm gonna give a special shout out because Disrupt Gaming, they ain't never played like this before, and I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna have to give credit to Red Cube, the media guy. Ever since he came into that household, this team has been totally different. Hats off to them. This isn't a Disrupt Gaming we've been seeing all season long.
No,
It's
Henry
really
gets
not.
no credit from this. No.
We give Red Cube the credit, man.
Oh my goodness. I think that I think Stokes just said I agree, or maybe it was Blue. But I actually do want to talk about Blue and Stokes. I think Blue said that eUnited is their own worst enemy, and Stokes said that they're like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah.
Veli, we'll be watching eUnited, and they will look so good, and then we'll be watching them, and we're like, what just happened?
Like,
What is happening?
I'm sorry, but there's 2 plays that could have put them, in the clear. At the end of the day, they lost this map by 1 round, but there's 2 rounds that come to recent memory. Maybe 3 or 4 I could really point out to you, but I mean, let's just say it how it is. Grixer team killing his teammate out there in basement. Once he got that 1 kill, it was a 1v2, turned into a 1v1, and he didn't have the time to finish it off. Okay, that's 1 round. Then the next round, Afama was gifted. Afama was gifted. He was gifted the world. He had the SMG out, and you know what? Sometimes stuff happens. I get it. But in moments like this, stuff cannot happen. Afama's better than that. I know he hates that moment. But you know what? Moments like that help star players come back even better next time. So hopefully eUnited, they can close maps out later on in the future. But look at Shuttle.
Our statistics are up on the screen. Yeah, Shuttle just absolutely turning up. I don't know if Veli said it a couple matches ago or not, but he was like, yo, all my eyes are on Shuttle. You know what I mean? Because we've heard a lot about NJR. And
since the beginning of the season.
Yes, but I think you called it out early, Veli, and it's just like, look at him performing so
I'm
well.
Say this one
that's
piece.
awesome.
I'm going to say this one piece because it's really important. You take a look at that old Rogue roster. That was an all-star unit. There is no reason why they couldn't win multiple championships. They all went their separate ways, and they are tearing the U.S. division up right now. Shuttle, one of the members from that Rogue roster, he's showing everybody why. Like, he deserves to be a champion. So,
yeah.
Hey, here it is. Came to play.
Disrupt. And that was such a great win for Disrupt. They did a decent job of keeping control on both maps, but their attacks, I think, definitely helped them to secure. What really stuck out to you about their attack?
Yeah, so Disrupt in the first 6 rounds, they got 3, which is pretty good for an Oregon attack. I thought that those dorms clears were really nice. The roam clear that they had going on the bottom floor, forcing their player to drop that security hat so you could catch him inside a freezer. That was a really great play really early on. And then, the second time they attacked on dorms, managing to see out that there were not very many players on the bomb site. That's one where, for some reason, eUnited decided to drop, I think, 2 players down below, and 1 player had already died. So it was ended up being like a 2v4 when they pushed onto the bomb site, which is a huge advantage. Recognizing that and going for the push when they did was super awesome to see. And then we saw the Ying strat that went down inside of Laundry, went down the lobby stairs. And Veli and I have had countless talks about if a lobby stairs push is any good. And I still don't think it's great. But with the addition of Ace into the meta, I feel like it is coming into its own. And you've got smokes basically every single time you're attacking if Ace isn't banned. So I really do like what teams are starting to do when they take control of Freezer, they smoke off that part of the map so you can run down that long sort of no man's land where you have no cover. I really like the lobby stairs attacks that we saw today, and that's something that I don't say easily because, I've been very critical of those attacks, but there were some good attacks on lobby stairs, which was nice.
Gridlock is key.
Gridlock would be cool.
Well, again, we were just saying that's an awesome win for Disrupt. What do you think about the future for them? How do you think they're going to fare in the qualifier, Veli? I mean, they look great today, but they got some stiff competition there for sure.
Being brutally honest, even though this is a different type of Disrupt gaming roster that we've seen all season long, right? Like, fundamentally, they're different. Like, this isn't the same unit. We have seen them excel against the bottom 4 teams in the past, and that happened in stage 1 as well. But what happens is when they play the upper tier, the upper echelon of teams, that's when things fall apart way more. I don't know if because they're more structured and experienced on how to break down plays that players like Shuttle and NGR are doing or trying to shut them down. But that's going to be the big test. If they can make it in this qualifier, I'm a believer. Right now, this is something that we have seen before, kind of, but not really, because every player is now stepping up.
Okay, Jesse, how do you think they're going to fare in the qualifier?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be the underdogs, I think, no doubt about it. It'd have to be either them or Mirage, and in my mind, Mirage is the stronger team of the two. But again, with Mirage being in the Canada division, it's hard to compare them against the US teams. We don't see them play very often. But I think Disrupt will be going in as probably most people's last pick. But I don't think it's impossible for them to upset. You know, I think that there was a quote in the video right before this matchup that every team in North America is competitive. Anybody can upset anyone on a good day. And I think that's true for DG. If they continue to improve the way they have been, you know, Shuttle keeps playing like he has been. Good Lord, he's been amazing. Then, you know, making it through is possible. Not easy, but I think that's in the cards.
That's fair.
All right. Well, gentlemen, I believe that our interview is ready, and I think we're talking to Waffle. So, Waffle, congrats on your victory. That was a dogfight, sir. How does it feel to secure the final spot in the NA qualifier? I'm sure you're ecstatic.
Yeah, it feels great. Thank you for the shit. Just never mind. Just scrap that. Thank you
For the congrats. Giving you the hype.
But yeah, it feels great. We put all the work we needed to. We finally showed up. We were finally to close it out 2-0. I'm gonna be honest. I think we should have 2-0'd Sonics, but we couldn't manage to close it out there, and then kind of made some small mistakes that added up. So just glad we managed to close it out today and grab the last spot in the major quals.
Aww. Yay. And, you know, you were just talking about the Sonics matchup. It's definitely been kind of an up and down season for Disrupt. So what do you all want to work on? What do you think you need to improve on looking back at the season?
So starting out at the season, the biggest thing was just like our defenses, like either communication, not trading our deaths, you know, not being in position to trade each other, not really playing as a team, or being like too stagnant, not making enough plays, and just giving the attackers too much freedom to do what they want. So when we went like 0-2, we kind of focused on that a little bit. We came back against eUnited the first time, you know, showed some progress there. Then we just kind of focus on that again. On attack, like especially was just dealing utility, making sure that we don't lose around to some Maestro cam or something, you know. So those are like the major focus points. Sonics, like they kind of we showed improvement, but some rounds we just couldn't deal with utility properly. So we just have to, you know, keep ironing these things out. And defense is same thing, you know, just playing as a team, making sure we're in position to trade each other. And yeah.
All right, very cool. And I want to talk to you about the matchup that we just saw. For me in particular, round 10, I just felt like eUnited gave that to y'all, and I just wanted to know what was running through your mind. Could you see the win in sight then, or I guess just what was your mindset when you saw that go down?
I'm gonna need a refresher. I don't remember that time.
There was a team kill, and essentially they just lost it through mistakes. I'll be honest, though, the next couple rounds were still very impressive, but I just didn't know if in your mind you guys got really excited and you were like, let's go, you know?
Well, yeah, we definitely got hyped. Nick should have killed whoever was elbow. That person just tanked like a whole clip, and then they, like, it basically worked out. They TK'd and we got the kill anyway, and we won the 1v1. So
yeah.
But yeah, we were definitely hyped after that round, and it was just like round after round.
Nice. Well, so happy that y'all got this victory. How do you think you're going to do in the NA qualifier?
I think we have a great shot of making it. You know, last time we played SSG, we went like till the end, you know, like 8-7, 7-8, I think, were the maps. And then Sonics again, you know, like really close game. I really think we should have closed it out. So if we just manage to make like our prep good and we show up on game day, I think we have a good chance of coming out on top in the quals.
All right. I love the confidence. Waffle, thank you so much for speaking with us, and enjoy that victory.
Thank you so much for having me, and have a great night.
You too. All right, let's bring it back to our analyst. I'm like, okay, the confidence at the end there. I know, he was so sweet. Like, I was like, how do you feel about your victory? And he was like, thank you so much. I don't know what I'm saying. And I was like, you're good, man. You're just so hyped from like getting this win. But I really liked the confidence that he showed at the end there. You know, like you guys were both being super candid. You're like, I don't know, they're going to be like the underdog. And he was like, nah, like we can compete. Like I like that they have that confidence. Like going into the NA qualifier.
Isn't Waffle Canadian, Jesse?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, so he's naturally nice. That's the response Canadians give you, except Canadian. So yeah.
I know. Aww. But gentlemen, what are we thinking for Corsair play of the day?
I didn't think about this ahead of time.
He just went, oh.
I get so caught up in the games.
Right.
Like, I just forget the highlights. I can't think of any, to be honest, yo.
I kind of liked when Yeti dropped out of the hatch, but there was like
the
so
Batman
many
play.
great plays.
No. Achieves 1v1.
Oh.
The Vulcan shield.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yes.
That I'm leaning towards that for sure.
All right, face it, if you guys don't choose that clip this time around,
All right.
I'm gonna have a word with you, okay?
Let's roll it. I feel like that's gonna be it.
Okay,
the Corsair
hopefully.
play of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Take
That
it
was a
away.
1v1 with a
Young
4K
player.
too.
Yeah, it's.
There we go.
Okay, here we go.
A 1v4. That's ridiculous
This
how we got
was
these.
wild. We were just watching and my jaw just dropped. I was like, did this just go down like that?
I clenched so hard. Like, this was ridiculous.
This
fact that
was
Achieve-
so fun to watch.
The game sense, the knowledge, the fact that the Goyo shield was still up, and that's why it's important to get rid of those things once you push in the site. Because if you don't, the other team will use that against you. And the troublesome part about that was he had nowhere to run once that shield exploded, so it was the easiest win ever. Oh, great 1v4 by him.
Achieved is nuts.
Yeah.
He's just absolutely insane seeing
Yeah.
stuff like that. But gentlemen, really quickly, let's run through the brackets. And Jesse, why don't you take Group B?
We're done. We're done with stage 2. Group B as well as Group A are completely filled out. We can see the standings now. Sonic's taken first, DG second, eUnited third, and Tempo Storm last place. What that translates to is that Sonics are getting 5th overall of the league, Disrupt 6th, 7th for United, and 8th for Tempo Storm. So Sonics and Disrupt obviously getting that ticket to the North American qualifier. They're going to play again and continue on to fight for that final major spot. Tempo Storm facing relegations, obviously a huge map ahead of them that they have to prep for. Group B was a ton of fun. And I think that there are some surprises in how these standings ended up.
Yeah.
All right, Veli, why don't we talk about Group A now?
Group A, the heavy hitters, the titans of all of NA. Number one, you're going to have Dark Zero. They're going to be automatically a shoo-in towards the qualifier. So Dark Zero is going to be with TSM and Oxygen when it comes to that. But this is where it gets scary. Space Station Gaming, they are not guaranteed a spot in this major. They're going to have to play in the qualifiers against Mirage, Sonics, and Disrupt Gaming. All teams that can put in some big work and be a sleeper pick when it comes to upsets. So that's going to be Group A. I'm really excited to see how the best of the best, the cream of the crop performs when we have that online tournament. I'm sorry, it's late. I'm stuttering over words. I'm excited, Jackie. I'm sorry. It's been such a great day
we're
today.
all excited, and it was a thrilling day, but an exhausting day to watch all that. I was screaming and yelling and sweating. But let's take a look at the schedule for the NA qualifier. Everybody, mark your calendars right now. October 24th.
Okay.
It starts at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Okay, you got it? You jotted it down? Okay, great. Here's the schedule now. Match 1 is SSG versus Mirage. That's going to start roughly around 10:20 Pacific Standard Time. And then we have the Sonics versus Disrupt, which we just watched. And that is going to be at 13:20 Pacific Standard Time. So that's 1:20, right? Did I get my...
Yeah, you got it right.
Thanks, guys. I got hesitant for a second there. And then at 4:45, we'll have match 3. Obviously, the winners are going to play, and that's TBD. We shall see who comes out. I don't know, y'all. Obviously, a lot of us are going to be leaning towards SSG there, but that Disrupt Sonics one,
That's me.
I don't know. It's going to be a good one. But also, don't forget, on Friday, we have some Canada Division action for you that starts at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But that is a wrap for today. Belly, Jesse, I love you all to pieces. You are fantastic. I am honored to have you both on my left and right. You guys are the bomb.
Yes.
And I want to give a big thank you to my casters as well. Kix and Taro Blue and Stokes. You guys are great. Love the crew behind the scenes. You guys work so hard all the time. Like, just giving you all the praise, all the love, and obviously giving all my love, all my positive vibes, great energy to all of you at home. You guys are fantastic. We wouldn't be here without you. So thank you so much for tuning in and being so supportive and so kind. Sending y'all the best vibes. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you very soon. Bye, everybody.
Attackers dropping. Defender is approaching. Attackers drop. 10 seconds.